welcome to the Caster Desk for what is going to be an absolute banger best of 5 series. I'm Draco, joined by Kobe and Chronicler. Guys, we keep finding ourselves together for just the best League of Legends possible.
Oh my god, just the teaser alone!
But will they
Look,
finally
there's a lot of, like, we could just talk
bottom.
about what this means on an emotional level for the entire duration of the series, but luckily for us, we don't have to. There's incredible League of Legends. I cannot wait to see how the draft evolves as both these teams show us what they've been working on since we last saw them in Swiss.
8 world champions in this game, down to be a banger. And as we get into draft, it's really fun because this series got a little teaser at the beginning of Swiss. And we got to see Cream actually acquiring Aurora or Yone more than any other player at the tournament thus far. I don't think T1 are going to be letting those power picks through.
No, most definitely not. And as you point out, Drake, narratively, this series is a buffet. But what makes me the most exciting, particularly after the absolute team fighting bonanza we had yesterday, is that both of these teams can be so insanely explosive. T1, by far the most aggressive team that we have in the LCK, going up against TES.
If it's a buffet, the team fights are the crab legs, and I'm hoping we're going to get some incredible ones. You can already see the bans, 2 high priority picks, the Yone, the Aurora, both taken away by T1. TES on blue side get the luxury of a bit more target banning.
So then we drop down, because this is definitely expected from T1 to double ban these, but the Sylas and the Ahri are both champions that are very high priority for both Cream and Faker here at Worlds after the little bit of meta change. So we'll see where they go and trade back here for the Rumble pick.
So the Rumble actually coming out, denying it from Zeus, does mean that they're going to forgo the Jax, which we've seen a lot, and the Sylas, which, as we saw in yesterday's series, has basically become absolute top-tier, blindable mid laner this far into the tournament.
And even though Cream is a very good Ahri, Sylas just seems now like it turns into a more tanky Ahri as the game goes on, constantly stealing away that ult. So we'll see if they even do respond with that pick in the end for the counter. Meanwhile, T1, still one more pick for jungle. I would expect something like a Vi. Owner's Vi has been amazing. The Sejuani is still up, and Vi is banned. So Sejuani here with the melee synergy for those stuns is kind of the next best thing to slot in.
Certainly, that already makes that top lane matchup feel a little bit more volatile, knowing that jungler can turn his attention topside. Of course, Vi, Skarner taken off the board, makes Sejuani the next logical choice for these tanky jungle options. The question is, Tian, ball's now in his court. What is he going to pick? What is he going to bring out? Amumu, you know, I feel like Inspired bringing it to the world, and the world happy to have it in so many of these tense teamfight scenarios. Instead, the Ivern, the supportive option, now paired alongside the Tristana of throwback to metas past.
As good as Cream's Tristana was, I think at MSI, probably the most iconic Tristana play of the tournament when he knocked one member into the other and they exploded. I gotta say, this feels like a throwback, and not a throwback that's been very successful thus far.
I would like to see another like double AD carry with Ivern comp succeed though. You know, they already have their Rumble for AP damage, so you expect the second AD carry to come in, and then Mako to lead the charge, round out the comp with, you know, one of those engage supports for him. So TES comp seems pretty locked in at this moment, and it's up to T1 to try and ban away the strongest components of what they see coming.
Banning away the Ezreal, knowing that they don't want to give another safe AD option, knowing that for the Camille and Sylas to be successful, they need a target that they can lock down. Tristana, obviously, with the rocket jump, with the input buffer, can be relatively safe. But what AD carry option do you pair? Now, TES, kind of the originators of what I'm going to call Jhin propaganda, with that single Jackie Love game where the static shift took over and we all thought, this is insane. It's been a letdown since then, but will they bring it back out here against T1?
I do feel so, and not only that, Guma, as we know, also loves the pick. So I wouldn't even be surprised when you pair it with this amount of dive, just having an AD carry that can stand in the back, still provide support and additional setup would really fit with the style that T1 loves to play. On the flip side, we often talk about what is a good Jhin game. When you have the Rumble and what I assume will be an engage support for Mako, the lockdown and combo potential is definitely there.
Debating now what T1 want to pick on 4 here. So far matched in roles, unless Tristana is going to end up flex to the bot lane, but does seem unlikely. Are they willing to just blind pick their AD? Does seem the logical choice. Keria, notoriously, at every tournament we've ever seen him in, a menace with that red 5 counter pick.
Oh, that's a blind.
And the implication now is that maybe a Lux could follow, something crazy could follow, because Caitlyn and range supports just go together so well.
It does make a lot of sense to try and get the tower pushing power of a double range Caitlyn lane here for Guma and Keria, regardless what the follow-up is going to be. Like that early game plan to take down towers, open up space for the Camille and Silas to work. See what the answer is here. Into a Caitlyn lane, trying to deal with what you know is going to be hard pushing.
Potentially just giving a bit more space for them to debate on what AD they want to go with, as the Leona is locked in. Now, incredible combo in the team fight from either side, to be honest, and especially now with the Leona locked in. Silas's choice of ultimates is decent in the context of this game. Nothing crazy, no Alistairs, of course. MF is the final pick. TES reliant on absorbing that initial engage from the T1 topside, turning the fight back in their favor. The Kaisa would be a much more flexible pick, but wouldn't pack as much of a punch in terms of upfront cooldowns.
I wouldn't have minded. I think the MF has really struggled. You're also pairing it with the Leona, not the Rel. I think AoE CC is such a big part of what can make the champion work. And pre-nerfs, I think the laning phase for MF was so oppressive that you can see you go, and obviously there might be a lane swap situation, but even then, that it made a lot of sense to pick it just as a power pick. I don't really feel like we've reached that state, and what we've seen, that level of performance from the champion thus far here at Worlds. A lot of team fighting power.
And the bar from Keria. And we talked about, as we speculated, we said, hey, is there room for Keria to continue to innovate on what had been a pretty locked-in meta in terms of engaged supports? The Bard coming in here against highly immobile champions. Yes, the Tristana can get out of a lot of sticky situations. The rest of the members of this TES lineup super vulnerable to that tempered fate.
And the Bard goes a long way with helping out the attempted side lane play that we do expect from this side, Camille and Silas here. It actually puts so much threat here behind it, because you're constantly roaming around looking for these ultimates to burn people's flashes and make them more vulnerable targets for Zeus Camille to trap people down and look for picks.
Looking at what TES have drafted here, the way they won that first game against T1 was by absorbing the initial blow and then counter-engaging. And I think that this comp does this insanely well. You have a lot of AoE damage, meaning that your choke point control is going to be really strong, and the Ivern adds on top of that. And for T1, this is nothing but comfort.
Certainly is. It's a good thing you bring up that first game, because in the beginning of that game, T1 had a really strong lane swap. They actually caught 369, got a first blood on them, and had a very big early lead in the game.
Additionally, T1 are set up once again to have a pretty strong level 1 overall. Bard level 1, basically 2 abilities between the passive and most likely the Cosmic Binding. Can allow them to get aggressive, maybe contest if they do want to go for the lane swap. And when you look at T1, one of the best teams we've seen in executing and finding leads in these early games, so wouldn't be surprised to see them be the ones who pulled the trigger. But at the same time, Caitlyn, Bard, and the 2v2, they're kind of happy either way it goes. Game 1. A deep breath before we get into it. We need Paris come alive. Level 1 will tell us so much about how T1 want to leverage their bot lane power. See how TES navigate, if they've found new innovations since the last time these two teams played.
Moment of respite before what I am very certain will be an explosive series, one way or another. Thus far, looks like both lanes happy to slot towards standard lanes. Not locked in yet until we get a little bit closer, but right now, neither bot lane moving positions, just holding the vision in his level 1.
And because this might be the last chance you have to be fully on your seat and not the edge of it, I'd be remiss if I didn't say to remember to log into your Riot Games account on lowesports.com and watch Worlds live during exclusive Worlds, emotes, icons, capsules, free stuff for watching. You're going to do it anyway. And this might be the only minute where someone's not killing somebody else, so take a chance, log in, watch, and we'll see where the lanes are going to go. Because this 2v2, I'm going to tell you right now, is going to be very difficult. But now you have a little bit more time, tragically.
Nice.
We'll give you more context on the pause, of course, as we get more information here at the caster desk. In the meantime, no lane swap.
So log into your Riot account? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, log into the Riot account.
That's what this is for?
This is not a scheduled pause, I promise you that much. Hopefully, I think yesterday we had one small peripheral issue, quick resolution. We'll hope for the same today.
So it is interesting here. We're going to have, we at the least know that Owner is going to start on the top side of the map and will actually be pathing away from those double melee solo laners that you look for in the beginning of their champ select with the Sejuani kind of synergy pairing, and trying to look to cover this Caitlyn Bard in their attempts to pressure and push in the enemy lanes, try and deny CS, try and chip away at tower plates. You always are trying to push very early on here and generate some tower plate money with that combination for T1.
confirming it is a T1 pause. We are getting ready checks in game. So we'll see if we're able to get that back on your screen shortly when the players do eventually resume. And I think the big thing to keep in mind is it's been a long time since we've seen these kind of bot lanes, but we got used to the 2 range versus 2 range for so long. But the important thing in this 1 range, 1 melee when you have this engaged support is if T1's bot lane, as you mentioned, falls behind, loses flashes early, this lane gets so incredibly hard to play because yes, MF is nerfed, yes, Bloodthirster is nerfed, but if she gets an early BT, all of Caitlyn's poke, all of that harass becomes immediately meaningless.
Also, as mentioned, the Tristana, I don't think the pick has looked that good yet at the tournament, but when you think about what should be good into Sylas, AD carries make sense, something that can really bully him early on and try to make sure that he doesn't just get a free ride to level 6 when the champion really comes online. And the early trades here going to be big for how this lane goes, as we do have Tien setting up his jungle on a diver.
Yeah, Guma and Keria, always the ones really pushing the double range meta for bottom lane. Thinking back to last year and the amount of success they got with it. So far, though,
Zeus early level 2 means he's able to take control of the lane, tack sweep, and the hookshot wall dive. 369 smartly waiting out the adaptive defenses, but this is, of course, where Rumble was nerfed, is that level 1 point. The Flamespitter are just going to do a lot less work, as we see a bit of an all-in here on the bottom side. TES not going to overcommit. They did get the level 2, but don't want to use too many resources.
and look at that, the Sejuani already. You see Owner on the mini-map actually heading up. Owner's just done the 3 camps, and he's dropping.
Immediately going to get the cleanse out from Guma. Keria trying to trade back. Will get cleanse for cleanse in the end. Is again, Owner on the top side. He's going to run straight into Tien. Tien level 3, red buff. Locked up, Owner not going to follow, forcing out the early flash. And now contesting this blue buff, it's going to be big. Tien does have access to his flash, however. Or excuse me, smite.
No way for him to move up, though, because Zay is with that prio, ensures that Owner gets the buff.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to go in there and touch the blue buff, but there's nothing he can do without his flash and so much HP already taken. It's just really smart from Owner.
Trying to keep this pressure up. Oh! Flash in! The full commit. Faker can now follow as well. They've got the stun to follow, but Cream locked up. They don't quite have it on the permafrost. Owner out of range, perhaps.
Zeus with the flash there to land the stun, but Cream still survives.
That's big, though. That's a really heavy investment from T1. Zeus spending a lot of time, 2 flashes, and they don't actually get the kill.
But Zeus actually, I mean, because he had been able to push in so early and crash the wave, it's bouncing back to him. So able to use that timing window, able to allow Owner to go for the first play onto Tien, then able to make the pass there through mid. In the end, you've got 2 flashes used from the side of T1. 2 flashes used from the side of TES.
And while all that action was happening, Guma cleansed, Keria healed, and Jackie used his cleanse as well. And we did see a couple of those trades towards the bot lane, but as expected, both of these players, or all 4 of these players, are trying to get an early lead. Both these lanes can feel really snowbally as Tien looking to make an impact.
These are not the players or the teams to sit there and scale quietly. If there is an angle, there's a way they can find an advantage, they will fight for it, and it won't end up costing them here. While they did have Tien standing behind them, hovering in the bottom side, T1 won't going to step too far forward as the recall does come through. Owner also hovering, ready for the counter gank as resets for both junglers. Tien a little bit ahead of the curve. And Zeus, of course, used the pressure that he had well, but it does give up a bit that he had to spend so much time away from top lane. 369 now really just trying to crash this wave.
I think it was just so smart planning there from T1, where Owner goes over, plays off the pushing Camille there. Zeus really nice, taking advantage of the level advantage for the big chunk and moving in, but bottom
Excellent
side.
Zenith Blade, stun fall if there's no cleanse available for Guma, but he has a portal waiting behind him. Ignite is there, trying to get a bit more damage down, forced to flash out.
And we're seeing the junglers actually flash on the Raptors here as Tien is trying to get his channels off, but there's no way you can channel with T1 members in your face.
Such a difficult situation to be in. Cream playing with a lot of confidence here, but the sustain from Silent is decent. Keria on the way up. Drops a little health back to keep Faker standing. But Tien, that's a flashless Ivern. Oh, he's going to get taken down. A little bit extra healing for the level up, but it's first blood for Faker.
Oh, in these plays! TES had been winning small advantages. Summoner spell off of Gumi. They get the flash on bottom side. Then Summoner spell here off of Faker, but they lose the first blood. The roam up from Keria.
Keria being the difference maker on this Bard. One of the biggest strengths of this champion is his rotational speed. Can get so quick from lane to lane. And it ends up being the big difference maker here as he gets spotted walking back, trying to steal those Raptors on a ward.
He put up the brush there to get some vision for himself, but then there's no way you can finish that channel as Owner came over the wall. And Faker here does have to blow his flash after going for this trade onto Cream, But then once Keria arrives, Owner's able to pinch onto Tien, and because of the early invade that they played off of Zeus's pushing Camille, there was no flash on the Ivern, and they do cash in on the first blitz. Get back to live though, because the Grubs as well are being taken.
T1 reset looks like they were able to get first setup on Grub, shifting their bot lane up towards the top side of the map. And again, we're seeing a very similar story to the first time these teams played this tournament. T1, incremental advantages, death by 1,000 cuts in the early game as they continue to take a little bit here, a little bit there. Now a kill, some summoner spell cooldowns, and the Grubs as well.
And it was the flashless Cream that I think also couldn't play as aggressive as otherwise he could if he did have that summoner available. And the kill also went over to Faker. Of all people in that play involved, definitely the best one. Zeus might be in some trouble here.
Has the hookshot on the wall dive.
No flash.
369 does have his, as well as the equalizer. Gonna use it for the slow route, crucially not gonna connect. Casual tack sweep. Zeus will be able to walk away.
He still has 2 cookies.
Yeah, his wave was in a little bit of a rough spot, so the timing there was quite nice for Tien, but Zeus, good use of the passive there. Procs it, then gets his hookshot away, calmly walks out of danger. I feel a little bit bad for TES in that Mako had been the one to actually start out the good play, burning Guma's flash, but then the chain of events still going the way of T1. And they really managed that situation quite well, with Guma immediately resetting, going to the top side, and then getting the objective for themselves after them being the ones that got their extra summoner spell burned in the 2v2. And now on the flip side, T1 reset again, and they're going to get the dragon as well. It's just they keep on accruing the objectives here.
Camtech Drake means as well that the average value of the souls is going to go up slightly there. Do want to note the gold lead still very manageable, and TS is sitting on double call. So once those are going to cash out, it's going to swing it back in favor of them as wave is being cleared there by Jackie. A little bit of damage on the Guma.
Do you think that TS will even be able to actually punish Guma while he doesn't have his flash up? I mean, Faker and Guma are the two ones that are opportunities right now, but 369 is getting a giant wave pushed in.
Faker might be the one in trouble now as Mako moves in. The flash forward, the Zenith play not going to connect. Now the ulti coming out. He's not going to be able to knock Tristana away. Cream walking away, standing. Good dive, but the response on the bottom side. 369 needs to back up. Permafrost, perfect layering on the combo, but 369 is still living. He has the wave as well. Zeus wants to go back in for the hookshot wall dive. Adaptive defense is fading away. Red buff ticking.
They're on the way!
TES incoming. Zeus, there should be no way out of this one. The recall. A hope, a dream, the flash as well. Maybe a bit ambitious. Mako! He doesn't know! He thinks he got out! The genius play! A perfect use of fog of war!
Are you kidding me? Secret Agent Zeus finds the escape, sticks in the fog of war, and fools them all. Let's not distract you from the fact it was a failed dive, though, from T1.
Oh, it was a disaster.
Owner went down, and that was a big play from 369, getting the extra cash there, defending the dive.
And on one hand, T1 knew that the mid lane play was happening, so they wanted to try and counterplay, but 369 also didn't have his ultimate, but they just didn't have the damage this early on.
Definitely big, though, for 369. You can tell, him versus T1, he constantly gets eliminated the last couple of years by T1. He has Zeus in his mind, so it could be a very big, mental play there. Having an extra kill on the Rumble will come up huge. It's a champion that in the mid game really has great potential to turn team fights, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Meanwhile, for the T1 side, they've done a very good job being very proactive in moving the Caitlyn around the map, constantly trying to shift over to the open tower so you can push in and try and get turret plate money. Guma got one off of the mid plate.
But crucial for TS that they were able to grab those kills, as well as the slight bit of additional gold coming in from the double coals, as you highlighted earlier, Chronicler, allowing them to even up the gold for now. Next grub spawn is going to be the focus. 20 seconds, resets onto the map from the side of T1, but you can see 369 is already in the river. TES likely to have first move, but T1, it looks like ready to fist fight for this objective.
And they have to. T1 is, Faker.
On, the abduct going to connect.
That's a lot of damage though. Cream does have his TP available.
Zeus is on the tower, bottom side though. Camille getting rich could be a big problem for side lanes. Zeus looks like he was able to grab one turret plate, and Owner starting up those grubs. Here we go.
But he only needs one grub. If they TP in and Owner gets one, it still feels like a victory for T1 as they get the 4 grub buff. They cross that threshold. We see this so often. T1 don't need to stick around. Carry it here as well to throw down the portal. First grub down, TP, and they just walk away. They got what they came for.
That's going to be an opportunity for Zayas to shove the wave in. Camille's early wave clear, though, not going to be great, so I do think TES will be able to rotate. But with the composition that T1 has specifically, getting grubs is really big, because with Caitlyn, obviously, the siege is great, but ideally you want to try and play 1-4, 1-3-1, depending on how your solo laners are doing. And those extra grubs can make a really big difference in how quickly you can push down. And this, I think, is the problem. Like, early Camille, the wave clear just isn't really there.
Definitely not, but the extra time Zayas is happy to have, right? 1-2 items, this champion starts to feel impossible to lane against, and your strong point is 369, or was. Obviously, Zayas picking up a lot of gold balances out that individual discrepancy, and you really want to, as TES, leverage this Rumble, but T1 just aren't giving them that straight-up 5v5. You highlighted earlier, moving Guma around, avoiding that flash cooldown, but we'll see if they can maybe catch Faker here.
Look at this hover play from T1. Well, now with the sweeper, they are spotted out, but Carry and Owner had come to hover Faker. With similar thoughts there, allowing that side lane.
Forward goes down, likely they spot both Carrier and Owner. 369 finally knows that he has the freedom to push up in this 1v1. T1 setting up here. And again, last time they played, it was around the blue buff in TES's jungle. The massive fight that turned it back for TES. We'll see if T1 want to go for anything similar, want to put more pressure on the top side of the map.
A lot of vision being set up here for T1. Most of it should last when the Herald spawns. And with Caitlyn in particular, want to try and get those turrets down as soon as possible. Keep rotating, keep getting those plates. We'll see. Dragon in 40 seconds. Opportunity here for either team. I do think TES, they want to get that 5v5. We already mentioned. But with the 2 TPs from 369 and Cream being invested, we could see T1 either try and play around the teleport advantage, or instead just go for the plates and try to accelerate the gold lead.
Looks like they've left 369 to push in that bottom wave, and they do
Tempered
get...
Fate's big. Cosmic Binding doesn't quite have the angle yet. Ulti coming in from the Caitlyn. Ult comes out from Owner as well. T1 fishing a little bit. They do manage to get the flash of Jackie Love, which will be big in the fight to come.
Already the Carrier Bard finding some value here. That ultimate, the main goal is to get summoner spells with it. And you mentioned Chronicler in Champion Select. Misfortunes in general have had a very tough time this tournament in being able to even look for areas to get their full channel off. Now with no flash, Jackie has to be so careful with his positioning.
And I mean, basically every single champion on the T1 lineup can just cancel that MF ulti. Guma probably the only one who can't do it quick enough for it to matter. So the perfect placement, the execution from TES has to be flawless. Bloodthirster going to make it a lot easier for Jackie Love to stay healthy, to keep pressure up in these lanes. But thus far, T1 very much dictating the pace of this game. TES have punished well once or twice to shut down some of that T1 aggression, but T1's completely in the driver's seat.
Very reminiscent of what we saw in the first game between these two teams. The timing here works out really nicely though for T1. There isn't really an opportunity for TES to rush the Herald, even though they did retake control of that area, have been able to put down a lot of wards there. Owner will be able to get the second dragon here for T1. Hex stack. When you have a Caitlyn, a Camille, I mean, it's always going to have a lot of value, but to me, the most fun Rift as well. The rotational speed that was already there for that Bard, going to be even further accelerated. See how the teams are able to use it.
I love it. The zoom map here.
Oh, yeah.
We're just going to even further accelerate T1's map movements later into the game. And of course, that's an exciting point that we're looking forward to. You know, once these outer towers do start to drop, that's where you start to see a lot of these attempts at picks. And let me remind you, 369 versus Gen G was the matchup where his Rumble constantly got picked off in the side lanes, and people were very, very critical of it. So we'll see if TES can avoid that situation.
They're going to give it up, it looks like. Although they are moving over, T1 should be able to at least get control of the Herald. T1 on his way as well.
And
Level 2 on the Rumble ultimate.
369 is coming.
You get to walk through the K-traps. Daisy going to lead the way. Mako just barely avoiding those traps.
No flash on Jackie.
Controlling the bushes there, but Daisy about to fade away. TES seem uncertain, but now they want to start the fight. Immediately the engage coming through. Ulti not going to connect. Full channel from Jackie Love, but everybody on T1 is still standing. Objective down. Owner secures it, and again, the discipline from T1. They won't get pulled into the fight. They got what they came for.
Carrier kind of absorbs right there the full engage and the channel of the misfortune ultimate. Magical journeys himself out. The rest of T1 stay calm, finish the objective, and then leave. Because the objective, the Rift Herald, that tool to take down these towers and get them to the next step of their plan is what is key.
Baker spotted by the blue trinket. Again, Tian shadowing Cream this entire game, hoping to find the angle, but Carrier is here as well. Redemption coming in, a bit more damage onto Faker, a bit more healing for Cream. Faker needs to get the hell out. Nice tempered fate to buy some space. Cream not feeling confident enough to step any further forward, but with Mako on the way, that might change.
Yeah, the rest of TES coming over to try and follow the play. Should just be neutralized as Faker's going to have teleport ready.
It was the empowered recall from the Herald, so just able to get full health, teleport back into the play, and TS are investing a lot of people here towards topside, not finding anything just yet.
Root, are they going to follow? Area able to make it back into the Krug's pit. And again, you can see TES. T1 is spending so much time grouping with Cream to try to shadow, to try to protect this Tristana, and we know 2-3 items. This is a champion that could take over the game. But in the interim, while we're waiting, it just feels like TES's ability to respond to T1 is so muted.
What we do need to address, though, is that, as mentioned, as expected, the gold lead basically has become even thanks to those culls now cashing out. And the gold, where it is better for TES. A lot of the gold that is on T1 in terms of leads is on Carrier, but not going to really be able to use that as well as some of the other members.
Yep. We've seen a lot of double AD carries plus Ivern throughout the recent meta, and know what the mid and late game of that do look like.
Zeus finding a surprise 369 waiting in the brush for him. Be forced to back off, but T1 was set up in the mid lane. Don't even need to drop the Herald again. 4-grub buff, a quick push out. And if TES aren't in position to respond, it's so easy for T1 to collapse. Ulti from Owner is there. T1 not certain if they like this fight, going to start to back up Redemption. Now the ulti from Jack, you'll have incredible patience to chunk out Owner.
TP!
TES 369, this TP has to be big. They need to go find his kills, but it's interrupted by Zeus, crucially. Off screen, the Camille taking 369 out of the equation. That could have been a disaster for T1.
Zeus used his ultimate for gap closer there as well, it looks like. Getting out alive after stopping the teleport. TS, though, they're immediately going to rotate on over. They still have the pushing wave on bottom side, so it did cost Zeus. It did cost T1.
But Zeus TP's top. He just wants to get a tower back. He doesn't even want to return bot lane, knowing they don't have priority, knowing they don't have control, using this Herald to knock down at least one tower, but potentially even two. All of TES in the meantime recalling, sending 3 members to that top lane to ensure that that does not happen.
Really good read from T1, because you actually read the play from TS. They were sending members towards bot to maybe punish a Zeus in case he did TP towards that bot lane turret. Not the case. Turret trade ends up going in favor of T1.
And this is so frustrating for TES. T1 are so slippery. Every time it feels like they've stayed maybe one extra wave. You can see Mako's just chasing, just running, but we're a second away from another magical journey, and the play will just fizzle.
So a lot of what this game is going to look like, especially as more of these outer towers do drop. TS here are keeping Mako on the top side to allow Cream to finish pushing.
Want to highlight as well that the fight we saw there with T1 trying to engage, and then Mako catching most of it, and then the counter mage is, I think, how TS wants most of the fights to look. The issue is, for that to really be a consistent strategy, you need to be first to the objective. And with how T1 have been moving around the map and generally been ahead of the play, it can be quite hard. This time, though, for this Dragon, they have the ideal setup. Mid-wave pushed out, everyone is in position, and this is where the entrenched Ivern can be really hard to root out.
Honestly, if I'm T1, I do not fight this Dragon.
Yep.
I do not face check this. I just try and get more side lane money onto Camille. My split pushing strategy is the best way to go for T1. Looks like they are going to try and get it for Zeus. I mean, they got the second charge off. How quickly could they get damage?
A lot of members
here?
on the way.
Ulti is there. They need to get Cream away from the wave if they want to push this. Carry going back over. Looks like T1 don't want to overcommit. Not quite 100% sure where the remaining members of TES are as Faker starts to push in bot lane, but I think it's a great call. The earlier Drakes from T1 give them the grace that they need, the space that they need not to contest that third Drake, which could have very well been a death sentence if that had been sole point for TES.
Yeah, they're looking for 2 items on Zeus. Well, let's see, creeping around here with the control ward.
Owner fishing for the ulti. Perfect buffer from Cream. Crucial, because that could have been the pick that started to break open the map. 20 minutes to Baron just spawning.
Speaking of 2 item power spikes, those double 80 carries with their double item power spikes. Let's see TES use this double 80 carry Ivern comp. It is up to Mako. Mako, the big play maker, the veteran here. One of many, but he's the one with the big useful tools on the Leona.
And look, he's going Bloodsong. He knows his job. They have to kill one of these priority targets. And you saw in that first fight, Carrier walked away from a full channel ML fault. It did not finish him, but with 2 items completed, I don't think that's going to be the case anymore.
Mako just clearing vision, making sure that there's no funny business around Baron. I don't know how much T1 loves to pull those The poking and prodding continues. Everyone on the way here from TES. This turret
X-Flash
stands for now.
Zeus can't just poke, has to be willing to commit to the fight, but TES, 5 members here immediately going to tear through that tower. The power of the Tristana. T1 backing up, knowing that they have Faker on a side lane.
Yep, just keep trading. Faker going to get the last outer turret that TES had held on to, taken care of in exchange for their own top side turret. Solo gold here over to the Sylas. Let's see if that gets him to completion of the Cosmic Drive. And it does. Think it should be enough.
Recall goes through, Cosmic Drive completed. Again, that extra movement speed, the ability to stick on these targets, big. We'll see how far away Guma is from his second item spike as well. Zeus kind of, I think, desperate to finish.
Oh yeah.
His next item. Obviously, so often when it's split pushing, well, maybe not so often anymore, you talk about Hydra items, but instead, Sterix is just universally incredibly powerful, especially against a composition like this. So the sooner he gets it, the sooner he can start to threaten that backline, those double 80 carries.
Particularly for Camille, right? Like the scaling on your Q, the ability to go way deeper in fights, and the way that she already scales insanely well with levels will make it a really strong 2-item spike. IE now done for Guma as well. Also a little bit behind on Jackie. And the edge, obviously, pretty expensive item, and the tension still building here. We haven't had a major team fight erupt, leading to a lot of kills, but the next Dragon might be where that starts.
And while we give credit to T1 for moving around the map, for avoiding this 5v5, it's starting to become an inevitability. You can see the brushes are set up. Cream has enough range, enough damage, but a beautiful Tempered Fate. No angle to set up on the stun, but now Zeus is going forward, getting a bit more back. Oh, double ultis coming in from the side. Owner burning down. Can they finish the kill? Flash out. TES using so much, but the jungler's out of the equation. Can they turn right back to the Baron? Do they have the damage and the time? Looks like instead, mid-tier 1 will be the option. The steady siege continues. Zeus may be hoping to find that flank, but with no ultimate available, he has to be careful. Faker trying to clear the wave, crucially dodges away from the root from Tien. The trap's not doing much of anything. The tower in mid will fall, but already Zeus on the top side of the map pushing in, looking to break open even more of the TES structures.
I love games like this, when you get one team trying to pull the other across the map, each one getting a tower here, but still the secondary ones here, so much more valuable for Zeus individually, and there's the completed Sterix.
And I do think now we've reached the point where TES, particularly with these 2 items on Ivern, they are so beefy. We see their T1 is like they're kind of fishing, you know, we're going in, Zeus maybe use an ultimate, but unless they fully commit, which I think they made the right call not to, because you can lose the game if that fight goes awry, it is really hard to do any meaningful damage. They did get Jackalov as summoner, the flash from him has been expelled, same for Zeus and Owner, but they have a lot more escape tools, particularly against that Bardal that we keep talking about. TES showing the sieging power of this composition. Now the Dragon, this time it's T1 that are first to the objective. We'll see if TES can retake that ground.
With Caitlyn always wanting to arrive really early, you see that line of traps here. T1 and Guma trying to funnel TES into having to come through this mid lane river brush where they have their control ward. But TES, brute force, they're going to get in there. They clear out the ward.
Zeus inside, pushing.
Knowing they're more powerful. See Zeus on side, know that they have the 4v4, feel confident that they win it. Run straight to mid, clear that wave. Now they have their access in, knowing T1 are going to be forced to catch that. TES don't feel confident to start the objective. 369 has to catch this wave on side. Last time we tried to TP in, it was canceled. Zeus this time, though, spotted on a ward moving over. Likely means that TES know it's time to get out.
They spot him.
The threat of the flank is intimidating, and T1 will use that to start up the Dragon. How quickly can they burn?
New trap line. Tien, can he get into the pit? Trap there, stun there. They just want to burn the objective down. Tempered Fate as well. Keep the jungler out of the equation. T1 again. They don't want the fight. They're playing a clean macro game. They don't want it to be about kills at all. There's only 3, and we're 25 minutes in.
And that's salt point for T1. TES wanted so desperately to fight. Now turning towards that Baron.
Keria on his Bard, able to hit the ulti now. TES going to force it on the Baron. They're going to come, though. T1 already on the way.
Oh, the damage.
This is such a hard 5v5 for T1. Owner locked up briefly. Chain CC there. There's the bullet time as well. Nice. Bit of CC coming from Faker, but he doesn't able to connect the stun. Cream already getting 1 kill onto Owner. TES, though, blinking health bars. Ulti coming in from Guma. Good body block from 369, but it stops TES crucially from completing the objective.
You saw there, Zeus was standing ready to Ian if they did have an opportunity. But as long as TS pulls up the Baron, T1 wins that play, even giving up owner.
TES, though, I love this focus where whoever is furthest up, they're just going to use everything to burn your front line first. And we're getting so many of these full channel Jackie ultimates because he's standing so far back. They're just playing off of the most exposed target, and they do get one kill.
Also, we talked about T1 and how much they love Barons, but with double AD carry and a Rumble, Baron has got like...
On the Ivern shielding, the risk of starting it is just not there.
Exactly, you can tank it for days. Main risk is the team fight in TS. I feel the same way, and I do think there's more of a timer on them now, because on the in 3.5 minutes, T1, if they get any map control, or if they're able to out-rotate, they can go for either objective and be happy, and that's not the case for TES.
You highlighted it earlier, Hextech Soul, I'm going to say the most devastating of the game.
It is nuts.
It is very strong. Not something you want to give to a team that is so happy to split up the map. So happy to take these isolated 1v1s. Zeus goes for just a bit of an extra trade there on the way out. And 369, again, it feels like this Rumble has been muted. It feels like T1 have danced around this pick so beautifully, and this is frustrating because you talked about 369 versus Zeus in isolation and what it means, but also for the series. If Rumble is not an effective pick for TES, that nerfs so many strats, so many drafts, so much preparation.
It's going to have to be TES forcing on objectives to try and get the front-to-back fight that they want versus T1. Meanwhile, T1 pressuring side points.
There they go again.
Here is the force.
Willing to flip it, know that they have to, desperate to find the fight. They've already given up a tower, 650 gold, the cost of admittance to even get in this pit, delayed a bit.
There's the TP.
TP coming in from Zeus as well, grouping as 5, one angle, TES, can they find this one? Eyes on the ultimate of Jackie Love and 369. Daisy already falling away, however. T1 getting in just enough to bait them. Beautiful cosmic binding, follow-up, the equalizer stolen away. Owner immediately gonna follow. TES peeling back, but they're running out of space to maneuver with. Now the turn back, the bullet time. An equalizer of their own. Ulti coming in. Jackie Love about to fall. Carrier going over the wall. It's a little bit over eager. TES still standing. Jackie Love still standing. Double lady carry. But Baker in the clutch. The arm guard. He goes golden. He buys a moment. TN perfect timing, but it does not matter because here comes Scuba, baby. Doubles coming through. T1 takeover.
T1 with the patient team fighting. They run them off the Baron, and they're going to run straight into the base.
Mako's gonna be up, but he alone, I don't think can clear the wave.
The waves are here, 28 minutes in, they don't need a Baron.
20 seconds.
They don't need a soul.
I don't think they have the time, but they at the very least are gonna get this inhibitor.
Knocking open the base, and this is crucial. This is infuriating for TES. We've seen so many teams fall. So many teams be baited in, get caught out by the team fight. Mako knows he needs to buy space, knows that he needs to buy time. Ignite ticking. T1 want the base. Will they stick around for a second tower? The wave a little bit far away.
Jackie's up in 2, Cream's up after that.
Crucially, the Rift, though, gives them a clean exit out. But they're behind on tempo. The Baron, the immediate rush from TES isn't an option, perhaps their only counterplay.
On a ward here, but don't know if that's enough time, and it's the patience that you talked about. And here we see again, look how hard it is for T1 to get any meaningful damage onto TES. The healing from TN makes it really tough, but then the moment that equalizer comes down, the health bars slowly start to dwindle. The damage is there, Mako gets isolated, and it creates the space that T1 needed.
Honestly, beautiful stuff from Faker. As you say, stealing away the Rumble ultimate and putting it on their pathway. There goes TS, right back to the Baron.
They know.
This is desperation. If they lose this fight, they lose the game. There's a wave in mid lane that has not been tended to. Zeus coming over the wall. Immediate stun. 4K getting lower. Bullet time there. Beautiful Bard ultimate. Zeus now going to look to follow through. The damage. Cosmic binding is clean. Jackie Love down. Baron down. T1 get the fight to get the Baron. They're looking to take everything from Top Esports in game 1.
Owner does it again. He grabs the Baron, and T1 are going to chase down every single mammoth. Not Cream, not today!
And as a flail hits Scream in the head, T1 with the Baron buff, gonna bring us to 1-0.
And this is the kind of game that you want to start a series with, this kind of momentum, this kind of confidence. This is a team that barely made it to Worlds, and they barely gave a chance for TES to play in this game 1. Outmaneuvered, outfought. Excellent so far, but it might not be over. They're still taking the soul. I don't think they're confident they can end.
It's almost unfair how T1 slump in summer and then show up at Worlds and look magnificent.
Okay, I really want to hammer home. It was not just the meta. Okay, they were on the ISO Faker missed shuffles on Azir. The fact that this team, at least in this first game, is able to showcase something that they didn't do for the entirety of summer is mind-boggling.
Zeus is even having fun. Parkour there at the end with the blast cone, just showing off the Camille hook shot. But here's another look at the Baron, and TS are forced into a bad spot. They know they have to just try and burn. Keria delays so long with the Bard ult. But look at this, as they can't burn it down quick enough, and so T1 press in for the team fight. Owner's even able to get the smite here, as there was an early one from the side of TES, and they just chase down all the extra kills. The real critical point, of course, was the previous Baron fight.
Of course.
And that put TES in such a rough position. And they chase them all down.
And again, that's a desperation move, but if they don't do that, they lose soul anyway. So they had to take that Hail Mary, but T1 again.
It's triple in it. Baron is still up for another minute. Look at that poke damage.
This gold lead insurmountable. The stolen equalizer doing more than even 369 could. Zeus walking up, hitting the tower, taking their time. T1 sights on the objective. Now taking the fight as well. T1 from start to finish in control of this game. One or two small hiccups, but they've been taking over thus far. Jackie trying to turn it back, a decent ultimate, but with the Nexus exposed, T1 don't look for the fight anymore. Happy to just take the game.
And TES in this first game took a big gamble. They picked away the Rumble from Zeus. I've always think it's more of a pick away because of 369's track record on the Rumble, right? Even in this tournament. And they go back to a composition that was insanely strong, but this is a blue side loss. And that is something that in the context of this series can come back to bite them.
Adaptation, mental fortitude, the name of the game for the side of TES. We'll have to see what they've got cooking up, what they have prepared as we get ready for this game 2. In the meantime, we're gonna send it to a quick break. When we return, game 2, T1 lead the series 1-0.
Sparks ready. Amped up.
And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good, good, good. I just feel so good, good. I just feel so good.
数不清有多少个这样的时刻，闪现向前，焦灼，欢呼，沮丧，再来。没什么比这一刻更好。
You got a pretty disguise, but you're still ugly inside. I see right through all your lies. I'm not like one of your kind. I'm a
drops a little health back to keep Faker standing. But T1, that's a flashless Ivern. Oh, he's gonna get taken down. A little bit extra healing for the level up, but it's first blood for Faker. A hope, a dream, the flash as well. Maybe a bit ambitious. Mako, he doesn't know that he simply got out. The genius play, a perfect use of Barbie War. The Faker and the clutch, the arm guard. He goes golden, he buys the moment. T1 perfect ending, but it does not matter because here comes Scuba, baby. The Giants coming through. T1 takeover.
Heavy is the crown, and the heaviest it is for Faker and T1 as they are the reigning world champions stepping into this battle with TES and coming out on top in game 1. And it came down really to one fight, and I think we want to kind of talk about how that's putting all your eggs in one basket if you look compositionally at the approaches of these two teams, right? How important this singular fight was for T1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're necessarily putting all of your eggs in one basket for like T1 specifically, but for TES, this was a fight that they wanted, right? Their comp outscales, they're going double AD with the Ivern, and T1 coming out ahead here essentially decides the game.
Yeah, and I think this really does show how important Keria is when he can get this counter pick for the Bard. This guy has been absolutely incredible when he's on this red side and can get these funky picks like a Nico, or in this case the Bard, where he can shut down so much if you want to do. And he was crucial to denying a lot of the MF damage, but also locking up so many members at really important pivotal points in this game.
Absolutely, and Azael, I want to kind of mirror some of the discussion that we had whilst watching this game, right? You want to lay it down for us about like, or out rather, for us
I'm
about-
gonna lay it down.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, about
Lay it down right
compositionally, how at an even game state, it is actually slightly favored for TES.
Yeah, in 5v5s, I definitely think top do outscale. I think especially in a front-to-back fight, I think T1 had little to no chance. So when you engage, it has to be pretty perfect, and they were able to find that really good engage off of the Bard ultis, you know, utilizing that well to be able to get Zeus into position to be able to get on that back line and take them down. And I do think that is a really challenging thing to actually execute on, because had this game just stayed at the status quo, continued farming nice and slow, I think that's a game state that really favors top, even though the early game was great for T1.
Yeah, and I think T1 did a really good job in terms of punishing 369. He was fine in this game, but he did not have fun early, and him getting shoved in did allow Owner to come in, bully T1. This set up their entire top side. Zeus was another crucial member in some of these team fights, and I think just T1 recognized exactly what they needed to do early, really try to push their advantages, and they also had really great objective control early as well.
I think it was the fact that you got so many of these moving parts working well together. Keria was instrumental on getting that mid-roam to burn these early flashes from Cream, but even as the game started to go on, every time Mako started to try and match some of these roams, Keria would suddenly show up, they'd get chip damage on a tower, you got Gumayushi into position that he was good. It felt like every part of T1 was working so well cohesively, and when you've only got like a couple of minutes before the draft, when you see the draft and you go into game, it felt like this was almost the composition they'd practiced tenfold against and had all these pre-planned ideas coming in.
Yeah, as a team, but also individually, and every second counts, and thanks to the reliable Cisco network, Zeus dodges, ducks, dips, dives, and dodges around his enemy vision to get away in this recall.
I mean, this is honestly just sick, and it takes so much confidence and understanding of exactly where the limits of vision are, exactly how far the champion can see. Because if you look for this flash and it's not perfect and they spot you, you look like an absolute idiot because you just die and you lose your flash. He realizes the spot that he's in, walks slightly to the right, so he's not going to be in range of the tower.
So good.
Flashes over the wall, walks straight down the middle, and then along the wall, hugging the wall there to not get spotted by the minions on vision. And it's kind of one of those magic tricks where it looks really silly from this side. You're like, well, of course he's there. But from their point of view, where the heck did he go?
Yeah.
But you can see how bamboozled they are in top esports. They're running around the entire jungle, wasting time and not getting out of the
So
map.
bamboozled, they lost the game.
Yeah.
Well, and I love it, because this is why we watch Worlds, right? This is what we see from the best players in the world. Their understanding, in this case, of where the vision lines exactly are so he could precision flash. It's so fun. Like, I love seeing little things like this, even if it doesn't end in like a massive team fight, right?
It's why these games are at a knife's edge.
And this is, talking about little things, one of the things I did really like in this game was how T1 was able to secure the third dragon here for themselves. Didn't end up being that pivotal, but I just thought the setup was really, really nice. They have the push on top side here from Zeus, and you can see that Top actually has really good positioning in the Dragon. It was looking like it was going to be a very difficult position for T1. As we roll forward, there's full push mid here from top. We can see that TES is actually moving in over towards the Dragon, clearing out all wards. So there's now no TP wards behind them, which is pretty concerning because, again, T1's comp doesn't fight well from front to back. But Zeus gets moved in towards mid. That forces TES to actually back out. Then we're going to have this move in here from T1. They're going to create this nice line of traps across the middle here. All those traps being set down. And now TES are saying, well, we need to contest this, but how the heck do we get in? There's the Sejuani ult thrown out, then the Bard ult thrown out. Tien is completely locked down, never has an opportunity to get in and actually contest that. And I just thought it was a really nice play around vision, really nice play around the pressure that Zeus had on the map.
All right, we just got it in that TES is on the blue side. How do they win this next game?
I mean, for me, it's not going towards that Rumble. I don't think the Rumble first picks were high priority. We saw how good Silas was yesterday. Started to see it again today, that it can be such a pivotal pick. But also, I think you need to try and find some way to shut down counter pick for Keria. This has always been where T1 have shown when Keria's able to just get his counter pick, look good mechanically, and pop off. If you can force him onto something like a Rel, I think you're in a much better spot as top esports.
Okay, we'll see indeed. It's T1 that gives the first blow. But before we get into our next match, we have a little teaser for you. Here's a first look of the new music video, Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
There we go, Arcane Season 2 right around the corner. I want more in my teasers. I want to be more teased then. You can't just give me a 6 screenshot and like a wolf thing and then just leave me waiting. But luckily,
the man needs narrative.
I need narrative, and luckily we got it. Faker signs, perfect queue up. We're heading into game 2 between T1 and Top Esports. And again, coming into this tournament, you would have favored Top Esports heavily. Maybe you give T1 credit because of the history, but recent performance did not favor them. But right now, recent performance, that last game looked pretty damn convincing for T1 as we head into Champion Select, powered by Omen and HyperX.
And T1 on the red side, double bans here once again. Not ever gonna let either of those through again into the hands of Cream. The Sejuani actually takes the place of the Vi. So last time around, we mentioned, how good Owner has been on Vi and his reliable engages for T1. The Sejuani ban does desync the value of those melee solo laners, but then you're also looking at, Vi Ahri combinations from the side of T1. I haven't liked the Ahri picks into the Sylas though, as the Sylas then just steals your ult and becomes so problematic.
I don't like the Sejuani ban because I feel like Owner isn't one of the junglers that you can easily ban out. I love the Sylas B1. I think it's a very clear sign of TES that they look at that first draft and go, hey, we threw a big curveball in game number 1, went back to something that worked in the past. Not going to be the case. And the Rumble comes as no surprise, but a very early priority on the Rakan here for Keria.
Wanting to try to make some big plays. Obviously strong synergy between the two champions already. Sejuani, of course, taken on the board means the long-range, non-committal engage is hard to find for the side of TES. If they want to pick up any other jungler that's been conventionally popular outside of the Maokai, they need to be ready to commit to a fight. And against a Rumble, that can be tricky.
I bet Faker's got a different pick into Sylas for us, because I think they want solo AP as Rumble. I don't think they want to go with an Ahri or anything now. I hope there's some spicy cooking going on. Let's see. The Ezreal has been so reliable, so I like this double lock-in pretty early for TES. The Rel into Rakan, no problem. Oh, even better.
Poppy, obviously good individual. Obviously, people, I think, overlook at the steadfast presence in the context of Poppy, but it is very good against disrupting the Rakan engage. Instead, however, the Rel going to be the option, the more conventional, I think, safe support choice. But now you've given over the Lovers duo to the T1 bottom lane.
Yeah, and I really think Faker's cooking something here, because they're going to get 2 more bans right at him. And they just instantly go for the classic for Guma and Keria.
Rel makes sense given the role of Make on this team. We saw in the last game as well. He was trying so desperately to find the engages. Couldn't find him on the Leona. Thanks to T1 playing very evasively. We'll have the opportunity on the Rel. I'm a known Xayah anti. I think this champion really
Not a fan.
struggles. Absolutely not in a lot of situations, particularly in champions like the Ezreal that can stay outside of her effective range. But Guma has done some incredible games on this, and I do think into champs like Sylas, who have no choice but to get on top of you, you can get a lot of value out of the pullback and your ultimate.
Definitely can. A champion that protects itself, perhaps showing us that T1 aren't as interested in playing towards their bot lane 2v2, maybe putting attention on that top side where they do have that early Rumble Prio, Renekton banned away, taking away Faker's Orianna. So, to your credit, Kobe, if Faker is cooking up something, it has to be something new, because I think TS are taking away the remaining kind of conventional, standard options, obviously against Faker, but also in the context of the meta.
All right, we will see. And then meanwhile, you get to throw more bans at 369, taking out his Comfort the Renekton there. One more here for Zeus to be able to target. Do they even need to use it on 369? Are they worried about the Cassandra? I guess they are still worried about it, or at least it just being such a reliable pick.
Yeah, 369 also, particularly last year, basically was one of the biggest parts of what made that JDG roster tick, right? The space he was able to create in team fights. And we have seen Cassandra the Rumble, you really struggle in lane, but after that first game, I think you can expect this series to really come down to the fights, and Cassandra does get a lot of value there.
And Cassandra does just make lane swaps and dives so hard to pull off. Pathmaker is W, one of the strongest abilities in the game, no doubt, just because of the amount of damage it reduces, the fact that it makes you unstoppable. Can be tricky to play around, but now the Tristana. So they are anticipating that T1 themselves are also going to go towards a more double AD carry focused strategy. You brought this up earlier, Kobe, that single AP for Rumble, obviously pretty ideal. Xin locked in, though, would be a very AD heavy comp if they only have the Rumble.
Yeah, Faker's pick is very, very open right now. And if you go over some of the things that can be good in Decisive, I mean, Cassio has been mentioned before, like Vex gets thrown around sometimes, the Galio even. If you want to go really, really far out there in like solo queue land, Nafiri is even pretty good in Decisive. The Jace.
There it is.
The Galio top. And we've seen this demolish the Rumble in the early levels, right? Brokeblade getting that solo kill in his matchup in this exact 1v1, and it's also taken away the Galio that would have mitigated a lot of the threat that Sylas can bring. That taunt from Galio is so disruptive to any dive threat.
Oh, I was actually thinking one of the biggest counterpicks we've seen to the Xin Zhao is the Kha'Zix, but I think the Viego works a lot better with the comp. A lot of upfront burst and CC available here. And this Xin Zhao pick, Owner is great at it. It works with T1's skirmishy style, but into a Sylas, giving him that additional power.
What's he been cooking?
A really big ultimate could be something. This would really lean into the composition that T1 have drafted so far.
Taking their time. Carrier playing with our hearts right now.
Oh, come on!
I mean, it's whatever he locks in, it's probably iconic. It's new or it's iconic. All right, the Ari. Okay, more conventional than expected, most certainly.
All right, so in the end, after all of that...
Yeah, we built it up. It could have been anything.
Come
it's
on,
still Ari.
After all of that, it comes all the way full circle back to a very strong jungle mid 2v2 here for you to have. Garlic, you mentioned how much Owner loves to duel, with this champion and take those heads-up plays with the Ari here. Charm to set up. Charm Flash, very reliable.
This game, I know in game one we got a lot of promises of action. I think it was an incredible game, but there weren't that many actual fights. I think this time around it's got to be different, right? We have, particularly in terms of mid-jungle 2v2, such volatile matchups. The Viego really relies on being able to start those resets early. You have setup on everyone besides the Ezreal. It's really easy for 369 to join as well, and I think TS are going to feel way better. I feel like your matchups are a lot more solid compared to last game when it comes to those early laning phases.
Yeah, I think this is going to put T1 to the test a little bit. The reason why I didn't really like the Ari, especially from yesterday, is we kept on seeing how the Sylas would just be so much more tanky towards the mid and late stages, would scale really nicely. Whereas the Ari would always be so squishy that you have to really be perfect with your plays later on in the game.
Pressure on both sides. Of course, you highlighted Kobe. I think it's such an excellent point because this is a champion and a duo that looks really powerful early on, but we saw giving Sylas dashes feels bad in team fights, and it feels bad if you don't have that damage. And for Xayah, a champion who, yes, can protect herself, but doesn't have the mobility to follow up if Sylas is running away, if he's trying to dash around, can make the fights tricky to execute, but thus far T1 have executed better. But Chronicle, to your point, this game, there's no more low-stakes engages. There is only really full commit.
There is only death.
There is only full. There's Ari fishing and Ezreal fishing. Everyone else is going all in.
And particularly, again, I want to go back to this. One of the champions you're not allowed to pick, or if Silas picks it into it, is Alistar, because it makes him so insanely tanky. I know a lot of the members on T1 are low range, but even then, Xin Zhao ultimate to me is so insanely strong when you have the damage and the ability to get in the middle of a fight and split it up.
And let's take a moment to talk about Cream, because Cream is here at his first World Championship. He's the only player that has not been to a World Championship here among all of these veterans, and he is an excellent Silas player. His second most played of all time. You talk about really good ults to steal. The Rakan ult is another very, very good option for him to steal, along with the Ahri ultimate. There are even some angles sometimes for Xin ultimate steals. And so for Cream here to be going against the most legendary mid laner of all time at Worlds, with how T1 are now performing at Worlds, it's very, very big for him to get one of these really comfortable champions and show us what he can do when Silas has really been so much a part of the recent meta.
A champion with so much individual agency. Mako and Jacula looking to take control in that level 1 bot lane. Ezreal, of course, before that first back, notoriously very strong as long as those Qs are connecting. But it's well highlighted. Kobe, I mean, it's so tough to be Cream. There's so much story. There's so much baggage. There's so much narrative around every player in this matchup, except for him. He's coming in clean. He's coming in fresh. You know, first time in a series like this, in a stakes like this, at Worlds like this. And so he knows it's important for him to do well, to show up, to make sure that his teammates with those stories against T1 can really find those victories.
Yeah, there's really like two ways you can respond to so much pressure and so much hype. Sometimes, you know, you get a little worried and you can get a little shaky, or sometimes you can just get excited by the fact that you get to go against such a big name and try and go for those huge outplays. Let's see if the mid-jungle fights actually are as explosive as we're hoping, because both junglers have started bottom side, and they're pathing upwards to the top triangle of the map where you have, you know, two very explosive matchups here in both solo lanes. So some good options for both Owner and TN to kind of flex.
Damage is going to feel good for T1, but whenever I see a Viego, I'm always going to look, how good is your upfront burst? Viego fights function the best if you can lock someone down, blow them up, and get those resets going. Mako looking to impact mid here, similar to what Keria did in the previous game. Faker's lane is pushing away from him.
Cream using the last of his pots. Of course, no inspiration tree means no cookies. He's doing okay thus far. First push out in top lane for TES, working out well. First push out in bot gave Mako a bit of time to check in mid lane. We'll keep our eyes, we'll get closer to that first grub spawn. T1 were really able to take that for free despite the early action. Cream now, big chunk of damage, that electrocute proc hurting. Of course, for Cream with Conquer, it's gonna feel great later in the game, but early on, it's so difficult. Charm Flash, flash response from Cream. Well done by Faker.
Yeah, gonna be traded flashes, so an offensive flash is as easily punishable as a defensive one, and after the teleport back, let's see, since it's gonna slowly push the other way. Junglers both recalling though, and you're getting just a re-clear here from Tien. Tien being very efficient on the Viego. As Krugs are coming up, he kind of hovers bottom side and should be a little bit ahead of pace in the junglers' options for maybe affecting these flashless mid laners.
And there's a limited window of time, as we know, because both of these post-6 are going to be either extremely hard to kill, extremely mobile, or both. Silas can easily steal that ultimate from Owner, become more tanky in case of a 2v2, as we now get the first couple of backs to come through. Nothing crazy thus far. Faker is still holding on to his TP, so any trade he makes now with Cream, he's going to be feeling great about, and first objectives are starting to come up on the map. You have the early Ocean Drake again setting up for a strong soul here.
Good wards as well, knowing that it was a red side start there for Tien. And it looks like that ward's gonna pay off right now. Does give them vision as he enters towards the river, so Faker can back off.
Tien walking up to the top side of the river. Has one camp to clear if he wants to go for wolves, but I suspect Grubs, and control of the Grubs area is gonna be the bigger name of the game. T1 in the bottom lane, already getting push out. If they can get a recall, if they can remaneuver to the top side of the map, they should be favored in the Grub fight. LCK team's notorious for prioritizing this objective head and shoulders above something like the Drake. Our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. No surprise we're talking about the junglers. Tien a bit of a struggle in game one. Both players this time around, Tien and Owner, obviously a lot of tools to make these individual plays across the fights.
That's the big difference. In game number one, on the Ivern, Tien's just not going to have the same agency that he does, much more supportive in how he has to play, trying to enable the rest of his teammates. Not going to be the case here on the Viego. Really want to try and go for those big pop-off fights as T1 rotating over everyone towards these grubs. Mid lane Prio being caught by Guma and Carrier, and we might have a brawl on our hands.
Green level 6 can take any ult he wants. Bit of poke coming in from Tien. But again, Owner and Faker already starting on the objective. TES a little bit late here.
2 ults available for the top laners.
369 trying to come down, but forced to use that taunt. Looks like it'll be a bit of a brawl here. One stolen away by Tien. Okay, matching grubs. TES late for the contest, but T1 debating if they really want to re-enter this area. Mid wave and bot wave in a relatively neutral position, so neither side is losing anything to be here, and Tien gonna walk away with 2. Good contest from TES, despite the initial lack of priority.
Yep, go in with Smite, grab the other one. T1, though, still sticking around to clear out the vision. And we get the double recall reset to the other side of the map. Dragon, of course, available.
TP is still there. 369 just TP towards bot. We'll see if Zeus feels forced, or looks like with the wave state as it is, he'll be able to hold on to his. That's going to be something that T1 might look to play around. Small early advantage here for TES, but because they did also commit 5 people, the cross map for T1 not available.
If the duel does break out in mid, the flash is still not available too, so we're going to see the supports as they make their way down. Slight vision advantage here for TES.
Don't know about that ward.
Little poke coming out topside from Jackie, but he's running out of mana rapidly. Mako finding an initial stun on the carrier, but the 2v2 is tough here. Silas, the potential to steal away this Ahri ultimate, the additional sustain he has from his W means 100-0 with a support who doesn't have Ignite is a tricky proposition. Don't want to get too aggressive, but Guma pushing the wave out, knowing that Jackie has no mana, he's forced to recall. This is a bit of free time farming topside. They see 369 assigned here. They know Jackie Love will be heading bottom, but crucially, 369 arriving in time to stop that plate from going over. T1 seeing Galio topside, no TP. Yes, he has ulti, but it's going to take him time to walk down, so they're happy knowing they have an advantage to just take the Drake.
Not going to be a timing window here, and you see 369 realizing that as well. Woo. So we have 2 Ezreal steals already this tournament. Not going to be the case here. T1 get the dragon, so the early grub, they get their revenge.
Guys, remember when we promised that they were going to fight and beat each other up a lot?
Yeah, I know.
Did you promise that?
All I'm saying is,
no, that was
you have more hours casting T1 than either me or Kobe combined. So
I promised it would be a banger series, and I still feel like we can fulfill on that promise.
Yeah, banger like chess is a banger though, not banger like MMA is a banger. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
Honestly though, the tension that just builds when we do have trades like this towards the mid game, and honestly, to your point, like we've fully waited out the entire flash timers of both Faker and Cream that were expended in mid lane in a matchup that can be very volatile with 2 jungles that can get very aggressive. Now that they have their level 6s, of course, Viego, does have the option for potent executes, and has made his way up.
Baiting if he's safe here. He's staying so far back with the electro harpoons. But you can see Owner on the way.
Trust it.
Who's baiting who?
Wait, Creamy's on his way though.
They know.
Now he spots it. He's going to start to back up. Owner there to shadow if he needs. They know Cream is on the way first. Nice layering of the CC. Tien, is he going to fall with the ulti? The answer no. Happy to just get the flash. Good play from TES.
What does Faker get here in mid lane? How quickly can he push on the tower? The turret plate is half gone, so.
That's going to be a flash, because 369 actually flashed as well aggressively to try and set up that play. That said, I think the Galio is so much harder to take down, particularly this early on in the game, with the Spectre's Cowl. The entire top side, the only damage that's going to be relevant towards him is basically just Owner, who doesn't really want to spend his time doing that. So I think today is definitely a lot easier to punish if TES see an opportunity to do so, as T1, yet again, changing these lane assignments, sending Fake towards top.
369 should be easy for him to get the push here, but you saw at the end of that play, obviously Equalizer used to clear the wave, which stops 369 from potentially getting a tower or a tower plate in response. So good use of those cooldowns as now we have the Silas versus Rumble matchup on the side lane.
And again, really good early setup here. T1, they rotate their duo into mid lane. So does TES. They're looking for the second grubs. But because Carrier actually got there a little earlier, Carrier's got great positioning and...
Initial engage, Jackie Love flash forward from Owner. Response from Jackie, the flash, the arcane shift out.
Oh yeah, Owner had the final auto prime there, so was desperate to get that off. Instead, it's going to waste his
Carrier's
flash, but
still there.
the damage is still done.
Again?
It's Carrier.
He's still here.
Area. He's been waiting there for about 30 seconds.
Chris
Tien
Nine
able
has
to
an
make it
ult.
out. But Tien obviously has push and topside, so they have an angle to play. Jackie Love staying in the area despite not having any summoners.
Oh,
That's
early
a
smite from
steal.
Owner.
Grabbing the third grub. Fourth is what they want. TES, can they find the fight? Nice charm on the side. Immediately they find the killer they were looking for. Jackie Love caught out. 3 stacks available for Faker. Nice Ezreal ult coming in for Jackie Love, but the damage not enough. Feathers flying out. Members falling for the side of TES as T1 again managed to find a favorable fight. But Faker's not done. Faker! He gets the double!
And TES, the reset champion, taken out as the start of the fight. Jackie Love chunked, and still they commit, and it's a disaster for them early on in this game.
Double taunt comes in. 369 just gonna walk away, trying to get control of the wave. 3 for 3 the grub score, but Faker, and this is what's infuriating. You talked about it, the man didn't have the best summer, but when it comes time, when he needs to step up, he just always does.
And again, the call from TS, look how low Jackie is. That alone is a big risk, but disengage the CC, charm into knock-up. And that's so much of your early damage and skirmishing power already gone, and Jackie can't approach.
Faker gets in the brush. He knows he has a control ward with him, and Tien just walks up to it.
Oh, the banana brush
And this is
control.
the flash that was burned earlier by Owner. T1 communication has been great. Again, that vision control was set up earlier by Carrier. He was waiting in that bush for 45 seconds. And while TES came to a play that was 1 minute in the making, it was T1 who came 2 minutes ahead of schedule, ready to set this objective up.
And not always lost for TS, but I again want to highlight both these compositions are outside of the Ezreal, effectively melee. All their effective damage is going to take place from very close range, so falling behind is so much more debilitating than it is if you have a lot more space to play with, maybe play around your poke, play around your long range. That's not the case here.
T1 are showing the killer instinct here in the game, and TES are just looking sluggish, walking up to them, not respecting vision control.
And remember, I think we have to talk about Tien, right? Like, the first game wasn't great, but we can say, hey, you didn't have the most agency on the Ivern, but getting caught like that on the Viego, we talked about it. You have the chance to turn this game around, to be the one finding the resets, but if you're getting caught, there's just as much accountability in those moments. You cannot afford to make mistakes
This might
like
be the
that.
make or break moment here. TES trying to take this dragon, and it looks like T1, they are just going to trade, so no breaker fight, and particularly on Viego, the reason why this champion has so much safety is because of the ult and the buffer. You can buffer basically any form of CC by just making sure that you hit the timing right. So as a Viego, just being in that position and you having to use your ult, that's rough, but you need to stay alive, otherwise that fight is always a wash.
Just looking sluggish, not expecting it. And Faker just got to mine a bunch of money off of this turret in exchange for the bot side play there for TES.
Oh, Swift Drift? You love to see it.
Faker was already so far ahead off those 2 kills that he
chasing.
just got.
Delaying the recall for now. Charm already out. Cream not going to chase, but gets the ulti. Small advantage. Will TES be able to capitalize on that cooldown not being available? Obviously difficult with the Malignance completed, but a potential window of opportunity. Excuse me.
Yeah, Cream with a nice little jump there, but as you mentioned, the ultimate cooldown so low with Malignance, and I've been really funneled into Faker pretty early off the 2 kills, now some extra turret plates, and he is the largest gold lead on the team because of it.
And in game 1, T1 outplaying around the map, not giving fights to TES, but this time they're taking fights, and it's resulting in a much bigger gold lead much sooner in the game. And you talked about melee compositions. If it's melee versus melee, who's ever ahead is usually coming out on top or favored in these fights. TES trying to fight back. Bot wave in an even state, top wave in an even state. They're sending Cream up, hoping that they can get control of this Herald area. Skooma perhaps caught out. They'll at least get the cleanse.
Good start to the fight, and it's the CC that's going to have to be crucial here for TES. They need to find a target, isolate them, and take them down immediately.
But you can see they're uncertain. Zeus caught between multiple members of the team, but they don't want to pull the trigger. Instead, focused on the objective here.
Faker TP.
Faker is TPing. It's to a very safe ward here, and the
Ulti in 5 seconds. Fakers will be available.
Objective's
Herald
gone.
gone. Do they want the exit fight? Instead, focusing on mid.
Big win for TES. They just get the teleport, get the objective, and get out.
Honestly, yeah. To see some decisiveness there and get the extra cooldown, that teleport that you mentioned, actually quite big here. So TES starting to bring it back.
Carry a decent sidestep. Cream on the way in. Stolen Ahri ultimate. But giving that respect, not having perfect information, not wanting to fall face first into a waiting Rumble in his ultimate. TS instead looking at the objective. Zayas might be forced to use the equalizer to clear the wave here.
And even though they weren't able to actually make it happen, we've seen the mental resilience of this TS team in International. Even go back to MSI, they were down 0-2 to Gen G, turned that into a grueling 5-gamer, almost getting the reverse sweep. And this goal deficit, it's rough, but you can still fight your way out of it. Again, stands or falls, but how a fight starts.
All of these last objectives go the way of TES. They get the Dragon, they get the Rift Herald, they get the top
There it
tower.
comes.
Breaking open mid is big here. That much more control over the map, potential.
That's Jackie.
Jackie Love in. T1 starting the fight, spinning around, not quite sure where they want to go. T1 stopped the Herald charge from being effective, and they're going to keep the fight going because they see Jackie Love hightailing it out of there. Bit of an awkward exchange. TES get no value out of this Herald.
Jackie drunk? What's going on? That was a full circle there. He ended up not wanting to go all the way in because of the positioning of Carrier.
It's a bad sign when your Ezreal nopes out at that point, but Cream fishing for the 1v1. Faker still 1 dash remaining. Again, I think in the isolated 1v1 Cream, you'd expect to be pretty favored, just given the sustain innate in the kit, the additional CC he can bring when he has the Ahri dashes available.
I like that little release of tension, though.
Yeah.
from the mid lane. Everything had been building and building and building.
Really, it's like the design team planned to give us comedic relief in high-stakes League of Legends when
Rift
they allowed
Herald.
Herald to be driven.
Rift Herald is truly a gift.
There's a lot of moments. You know, they can be great, they can be heartbreaking. Certain players, I mentioned already, that maybe are not allowed to drive
Not
anymore.
allowed to drive, nope. That said, this one not great or heartbreaking, just a little awkward.
Just
TES, yeah. They're going to give up a bit more prio than they would have wanted, a bit more of 369's health bar, but all's well that ends well, and for now at least they're holding on to their mid lane tower. That said, Herald could have been big, could have been a lot of money for them, so not getting that advantage is going to hurt TES, but you can see that while T1 had about a 2K gold lead earlier on, it's getting closer and closer as TES pick up more resources across the map.
I hope that we actually get a confrontation on this Drake, because currently Deus is recalling to go purchase, and then he should head on down for this objective. Does have his teleport, so he can actually go catch the wave and then threaten with his teleport to come join the fight. Meanwhile, 369 Galio ultimate is ready. You have to be careful. T1, you're going to have to try and draw out the Galio ult without fully committing to the fight.
Take a reset. The TES are aware they can go in now with no fear of being down a man.
OTP just yet. It's available soon, but not in time. So TS, first to the objective, able to get the mid lane prio, set up shop, and T1 with that rotation over of Zayas.
T1
Looks like they're
wanna
doing a
fight.
contest.
They do. They leave top wave in a relatively even state. Bit of poke coming in from Cream. Has stolen away the Rakan ultimate. Ready to go. Zoning away, 369. TES, priority setup. T1, what's the angle here?
They hold the choke.
Faker ready to go over the wall. Blast cone there as well. 3K. Owner looking to get involved. Good interrupt coming in from Mako. Equalizer now coming out in the midst of the entire team. Excellent Galio to follow, but Mako's getting damn low. Cream getting lower as well, and Faker finally getting involved in the fight. Guma untouched on the backside, but he can't get any further forward. Jackie Love on the way out. Objective to TES.
No flash on 369 though.
Likely to fall here.
He's a chicken trapped in the pit.
Well, good play from TES overall. They do have to pay with the life of their chicken top laner.
Giving up a kill for a Dragon, you're going to take that for sure. T1 are looking for a little bit more than that, I do think. We'll see. They might be able to, with how low the health bar on this mid lane turret is, push it further, but looks like they don't want to take the risk. And Jackie going untouched in that fight, I think, is a large reason of why T1 didn't commit further. Still flash on Owner, still flash on Faker. And when we look back at this fight, we'll see that a lot of the damage actually goes into the front line, I think, here for either side. Owner's ult in particular, spreading up the fight, makes it really hard to actually get damage on the back line for either side.
And I think Mako's performance is crucial in that fight because he stops Carrier with the ultimate, with the initial Shattering Strike to interrupt the dash onto Jackie Love to get Ezreal out completely. And while T1 probably favored at that point in the 5v5, TES, good discipline to just retreat. Yes, they do have to watch their chicken get fried in the middle of that Dragon Pit, but I think a worthwhile cost overall.
Yeah, and you can see T1 very cognizant of trying to use their dash champions, Faker and Carrier, to go in and then bait out a Galio ult and then dash away to try and avoid. But as you mentioned, Mako kind of locks them in with a good rel kind of pulling them back. And in the end, a price to pay for the objective, but still getting to Dragon number 2. T1 though, reset immediately, and now we're looking at top tower. At least what remains of it.
Should just fall here. Cream really cannot clear the wave fast enough. T1 usher that wave in, watch it fall, but it'll be traded back by 369 on the opposite side.
That even further, and we haven't talked about it yet, is now just on the map is the Baron. Whichever team is going to have to try and play in the Baron with the wave clear that they have on either side is not going to be feeling too hot.
Definitely not. But I'm just going to call out Jackie Love right now in a fantastic position. Ezreal has the extra range. He should always be able to get mid-push. He's on 2-item spike. We've talked about it for 10 years of League of Legends. It's as good as it's ever been. So he has the potential to turn these fights around if T1 cannot find a way to shut him out.
Especially since Cream on this Sylas has cut down a lot on Faker's gold lead, and he can create room for Jackie Love in these team fights with a Galio on top of now a 2-item Sylas and really good ults to steal. You saw the idea last time around, stealing away the Rakan ult, being such a tanky possible engager here. Both Cream and Mako to set up for possible 369 ults.
I do apologize for setting false expectations as we have 4 kills at 22 minutes.
It's okay. We forgive you.
I felt guilty about it.
I can't say
I just want to bring it up.
We'll forgive you, but we forgive you, Mal. I never hold a
that.
grudge. That said, I feel like Baron, as it was in the previous game, is probably where we're likely to see these fist fights. Keria and Mako fighting a Pokemon battle as their junglers wait behind them. Cream now trying to retreat. Both ultis forced out here. Again, it's really a game of attrition. Who can get better setup? Who has their waves in a better spot? Who has better cooldowns available? And so many of these micro moves might not initially seem important, but they are team fight defining.
And after a play like that, you know, the real big benefit is the extra 30 seconds that you kind of get for Cream, because he forces Faker back to base. And so Faker goes to regenerate his health, but Cream then pushing out on the bottom side to get the minion wave moving in their favor. See what they can do with it, with top side pushing now, as well as bottom side. TES also have the advantage in vision. Control wards laid down around the Baron, so the minions pushing, the vision set up there. Jackie Love quite safe in mid lane.
All the sums are available almost on either side. So a lot of volatility in this fight. About 50 seconds. The setup is already starting. This is the possible soul win here for TES.
And you can see the poking and prodding. Both teams know if they overcommit and don't find those key targets, they're going to get torn to pieces. Guma on 2 items. This Xayah, if you have to fight into her, you're going to get torn apart. Now, the same is true, though, for the Ezreal. And so unless a key target missteps, as it was in the previous topside fight where Tien overextended a little bit, either side wants to be the one to overforce. Keria, though, caught by a bit of CC. Charm to try and interrupt. Bit of trading of health bars. Aftershock down, as well as Celestial opposition, though, means Mako is quite squishy for at least the next 30 seconds.
Banana brush control here for T1. Faker fishing for some poke.
Charm gonna go wide. Mako's so incredibly low.
The poke from Guma here. Mako actually gonna have to reset?
They just have to give it up. Without Mako, I don't think you can team fight. And it's just a second Drake.
Just the poke there. Faker, Guma, T1. Finding an objective with chunk damage.
Back mid, they don't want to concede mid tier 1.
Actually really like this from TES. So they identify that they can't make it. Zayas had already path towards bot trying to get that turret. And then instead TES push really hard in mid, forcing out a TP. The turret will still fall to the minions, but I think getting that cooldown is a big win nonetheless. And they hold on to this mid lane turret though.
And you have to understand, despite the small goal difference, these teams are so damn close. Equalizer comes out. The TES, again, don't want to overcommit. Every objective, every setup, every small cooldown exchange just continues to build pressure on both sides. Both teams know if they are the one to fail, if they are the one to fumble in a team fight, this entire game will slip away from them.
You see T1 checking the Baron here, making sure that TS are not going for anything fishy there. It's going to come down to the clutch factor of these mid and late game team fights. The setup here, you can see, just hinging on a little bit of poke damage. You don't even have to get the kill. Force them back to base, and look, you get the objective.
I'm just saying, you're down a game against T1, and now the analysis is you have to out-clutch them. That's a lot for anyone to deal with. We talked about Cream earlier for Tien as well. These are players who have achieved so many things, right? But I think still, you look back to last year, it's so crucial that an LPL team can take down T1, not just because they haven't done it at Worlds, but because of what happened last year. And TES, coming into this tournament, you would have thought that they would be favorites to do so. Now, can they show that level of performance? 369, good initial taunt, get some poke onto Faker, but it's really all about the objective setup.
Electrocute proc. Man, 369 not taking a lot of damage there. And without Guma, they're just not going to be able to shred through this guy. If he's there, that obviously changes the equation. Approaching his third item now, and this turret still being held onto as Keria did get spotted there on that banana brush ward.
Keria locked up, good initial CC. Ulti coming out from Cream as well. Charm will be traded. For now, just the ultimate cooldown. In the meantime, they're losing their mid lane tier 1. Not hurting too much. Jackie Love going forward. Faker dashing away. Somebody needs to die! Guys, why am I here? I'm just gonna I'll shut up. I'll play caster. There's nothing to play. They're not killing each other.
Are you telling me you're not satisfied with 2/3 of an HP bar?
No! No. But Tien might not be either.
No,
he is. He is. Okay, my bad.
We're playing for objectives, Dracos.
The bot side is also
to
pushing
clear the
for them.
wave. Bot wave pushed in, forces response. TES have priority access on the Baron. They don't have the best Baron taking comp right now in terms of itemization. It's not the Blade on the Viego or the Kraken. It is Black Cleave versus Thunder's guy.
We are biding our time, okay? We will strike when the iron is hot. We will not make a mistake. And I think either team, for T1, it's understandable because if they're able to win this game, they're up 2 match points. And for TES, trying to fight your way out of that against T1 of all teams will be a nightmare.
I feel like we are very close to Dracos going on strike and just not even talking until there is an actual team fight.
But actually, Dracos, I think we have a good fight performance. Maybe you can get us a cup of tea.
It's right. I'll be back, guys. I'm sorry. You guys just, if they fight Holler, and I'll shout.
Yeah, we'll get you over here.
I'll be back.
Okay, we wouldn't do that to Dracos. That'd be very...
Dracos! He jumped. Why would you? You know, I wasn't joking when I said the tension is building. All it takes is like every time a support is in a brush, just like this, we are seconds away from perfect CC layering into death into Baron.
They are proccing opposite. Well, at least Mako's got procced. Just getting that cooldown.
That 30-second cooldown.
Oh, yeah.
Again, they keep toying with us again, though, because TS are able to push the side lanes. They are able to get step 1, push side lanes in. Then you look around. When are we going to get the full commitment, though? T1 are just so touch and go while still looking for poke here, you know, walking up and getting small chunks of health. The tower in mid lane, the most important one, still stands for T1. Their point of defense here, their point of safety.
Jekyllov trying to poke as much as he can, and you see it is landing.
T1 pulling their way in.
Is this the time?
Crab taken down. You can see Gumayushi deletes waves. Ezreal can get to them first, but Guma kills them so much faster. Gage Carrier going to go a little bit wide. Has the battle dance to make his way.
Jackie hitting some crucial poke here.
In the slow battle,
He's had enough.
favored thus far. Again, if they can bait 1 or 2 ultis, it's easy for them to continue to step up.
Jackie with a couple of forward-facing arcane shifts. You can tell he really wants it now.
Neither team sitting on soul point as well, so neither team can commit too heavily towards this Drake. At the point in the game we're in now, approaching 30 minutes, either team can definitely take down that Baron in a very short amount of time. With Keria down a heal, down his health bar. This time TES are looking to take this dragon uncontested, and T1 want to be T1.
They weren't willing to force.
Oh, the poke again.
I mean, Navori allows Guma to just obliterate this objective, but that initial bit of poke hitting him does matter. Tien doesn't have enough vision here to be confident to step up. TES instead fighting for mid-wave control when we go again. This dance, this back and forth prodding, hoping to find these cooldowns.
The weight of this moment, either team knows. Viego resets, Ari resets, one misstep.
Keria again fishing. In the earlier fight, it paid off for him.
They know that T1 are so famous for burning Barons that TS don't even
to start it.
They don't even want to take the dragon.
Excellent charm lineup is there. Support down. T1 strike the initial blow. TES, do they feel like they have to fight here? T1 looking to bully off the mid wave. Equalizer goes down. Not going to find much effect. And Faker's low. They're down a man, but the ulti now coming in. Faker able to walk away. Ezreal not going to connect. Crucially, Cream 369 ready to step forward. Jackie Love safe for now, knowing a lot of those ults are missing, knowing that Faker is out of the fight for a moment. But he's recalling and he has the TP, he can find the flank. There's so much vision around TES, they have to be careful about overcommitting. Now finally they will sweep away these TP wards.
Oh, a lot of damage is still done to T1 though. Baron, Chunk still, Mako, he's running, but 4 members, they spotted. There, they attempt to flank.
They don't have perfect information. Keria now trying to make his way out. This charm crucially coming through, hitting 4 members. T1 is taking so much time, and Oner goes in. Oner finds Jackie. Ulti going in. Cream still stepping up. 369 taken out. Carry on the side. Slowly but surely, T1 are taking the fight. Mako looks to make the difference. The Guma goes up in the air and comes right back down, dragging the hopes of TES alongside them. As again, T1 find the fight. Faker on a rampage. Faker doing it all in the moments where it matters.
Carria's dancing on the corpses of TES! That was insane footwork from the Rakan!
That's a clean ace! For the Baron!
Holy!
And possibly for the game! As the tension builds and deflates in just a moment!
Fellas, it's a clean 10-0.
And you look back, you highlighted Carry. Again, that sidestep is everything. The fact that that stun does not hit from TN allows him to do so much work.
And what's crucial here is Mako isn't there, so 369 has to play for a forward to buy space for his carries. But then he does get obliterated by Gumayushi, and they just don't have the damage. Jackie again taken very low. And then Faker, in the end, cleans it up.
At the end of all that, I have one question for you. Dracos, was it worth the wait?
Yes, 100%. How could it not be?
Thank you. That was beautiful work here, and we're talking about clutch factor and coming down to this next fight. And T1 completely outplayed. That was a clean ace. 10-0 the score with the Baron, with the Dragon. They want more.
Cream trying to make his way out. He's already been charmed. He's already been locked up. Perfect CC layering means the Silas is on his way out of there, but he manages to get the dashes out. In time, he holds on. Again, name of the game is survival now for TES. They were on even footing for so long, but with this Baron buff empowering T1, they have to play on the back foot. They have to respect the potential for the push here, concede these tier 2s, give up what they have to, hope to find another fight, another chance to come back in this game.
Zeus, Gumayushi, and Keria have not yet died in this series. There have been so little kills. These fights, as explosive as they are,
I feel like I have to apologize also, because I was promising like banger back and forth 5-game series,
Yeah.
but with the form that T1 are showing, that is not the case. They are dominating.
Discipline, so solid, and now they have a lead. Now they can afford to take risks. TES caught out. Faker coming over the wall. Beautiful equalizer into 3. Now all the TES backline has been forced away from the fight. Cream isolating to 1v1, tries to take an equalizer of his own, but it does not matter because Jackie is in trouble. Jackie trying to make the difference with the orb of deception, takes him down. Zeus in the 1v1, but not for long. Oner on the way. Wind becomes lightning, will not connect. T1 forced back, but the base of TES is crumbling.
You've got world champions inside your base. What do you do?
not a whole lot. There's no members. Only Tian and Cream trying to hold on, but they don't have the items, they don't have the wave, they don't have the wave flare. He goes in.
Charms in, but there's nothing he can do on a knife's edge for so long, but in the clutch, T1 again show up to move on to match point.
15-0?
I watched this team barely make it past KT. I watched this team lose to DK. And now they're up 2-0 in this quarterfinal. Absolutely boggles the mind.
The tenacity of this team starting to feel impossible to surmount. T1 moving up to match point. We're gonna head to a quick break. When we return, will it be the final game for TES at Worlds, or will they bounce back in game 3?
전멸을 가장 못 쓰는 선수를 뽑자면 헤이 선수고요. 이유는 스펠을 계속 안 쓰더라고요. 제가 그냥 쓰라고 잘 못 쓰는데 또 그만큼 잘 아끼는 것만큼 또 제일 잘 쓰는 선수도 헤이 선수라고 생각합니다.
This
Red Bull gives you wings.
Here we go again, man, I'm on another one. Don't wait up for me, man, I'm on another run. Yeah, I hear the streets calling. I cannot ignore it. Walking on the border, feel the devil on my shoulder. Talk to me nice. I ain't got a lot left. Talk to me right. They remember when I used to walk in the light. Now I got a little walk in the black. I've been on the verge of self-destruction. Never been this close to me erupting. I'm on the ledge. I'm seeing red. Don't think they heard what I said. Mr. Goody Two Shoes, about to pew pew. Kill him in a new suit, man, I'm too smooth. From the light to the dark, from the truth to the lies, play a part. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade. Better run away, run away, run away. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade. Better run away, run away, run away. I'm a renegade, 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 renegade. You better run away. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade. Better run away, run away, run away. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade. Better run away, run away. Yeah, yeah. I threw away the halo, never gonna be an angel. I'm more keen and able. I've been a since the cradle. Build different, homie. You could go and check the label. I'm 100% raw, underrated. I'm related, I'm the greatest. I'm the hero and the villain. You can pick a favorite. I'm the one that everybody said he couldn't make it. Now I'm on a mission. I'm trying to win my enemies and they gon' hate. Hate is just the love when it's intensive. Dark is just the light without the sense. And loneliness is you without the friends. Click, giving up for me is too expensive. Renegade. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade. Better run away, run away, run away. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade. Better run away, run away, run away. I'm a renegade, 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 renegade. You better run away. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade. Better run away, run away, run away. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade. Better run away, run away. I tell the world, never label me the same. I feel nobody could relate. You can't box me in the day. I'm breaking chains, I'm in the rave. And that's just me, just me, just me. Don't box me in, it'll get interesting. Cause you don't know the pain that I'm wrestling. I'm a renegade when I ain't resting. That means all day. You don't wanna test me, this ain't all play. I could be the warm breeze on a cold day. Or the one you gambling with after a parlay. Yeah, but that's just me, just me, just me. Don't push me unless you're feeling lucky. Or you gonna turn this into a must-see. And I don't wanna go there, trust me. Renegade. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade. Better run away, run away, run away. I'm a renegade, renegade, renegade.
T1 are are the LPL killers. They have been historically as early as last year once again to get to their world title. And now at the first foe that they have in front of them in the quarterfinals in TES, also a team from the LPL, they are already on match point. And I say already because I think the expectation generally was going into this that we were going to see a very close match, you know, every game or every objective was contested, where the team fights would be aplenty, and we haven't.
No, we haven't at all. You know, I was looking forward to this most of any quarterfinal because I thought it was going to be a slugfest. I thought it was going to be both these teams going right at each other, fighting nonstop, contesting 2v2s, contesting mid-jungle, and it has been this kind of slow burn where the teams are scaling up, and T1 is just out-executing at the end of the day.
Yeah, and my thing is, both of these teams have looked hesitant at times, but when it's come time for TES to actually do something, they don't necessarily make the right decision, right? I want to return everyone's mind to around 11 minutes in the game, where, first of all, in mid lane, as we pull up the clip, JackieLove is going to take a massive amount of damage here as Owner is going to essentially jump on him, right? So we roll through. He ends up getting chunked out significantly from this. Blossoms, now they're like, okay, we're still going to try to contest these grubs. Tien starts it up. If we can pause right here. So Tien is still gonna go in. Galio is coming down from top side. They have pushed out top. And as we play through, Tien actually does get one of these grubs. And so you're like, okay, that's fine. You know what? We have 3 grubs, that's 3. T1 can't, you know, like T1 are not gonna get the 4. JackieLove is still very low health here, but no, we're going in, and it's just really disjointed. They don't seem to be super coordinated in a lot of these decisions. And, you know, Rob, you and I have watched JackieLove for years, and it's really frustrating to see these decisions from TES.
Yeah, it blows my mind. JackieLove is never going to beat this Ioni Arcane shift forward in Ezreal if he continues to play like this, because it has been so upsetting that a man has put in so much work for the last 2 years to become stable, to become a carry you can rely on, shows up on the world stage like this. This is not the player that we saw in the LPL. This was a team of magic and mojo, and all we're getting is missteps and a complete mess from this team.
I get your frustration,
That's
and
so
just
good.
to give it back to you, Emily, because not just JackieLove, this team got 0 kills in that last game. That is the 17th time internationally that has happened. That is not something you want to see happen in a quarterfinal in a game 2.
No, and it's infuriating, because it's not just on JackieLove, right?
No.
But when we talk about narratives, when people only see a team on the international stage and a player performs like this, it's infuriating, because this TES team, JackieLove was way more stable, to your point, Rob, domestically, but then they've executed on team fights so well, and they have not been able to get one in either of these games.
But for every misplay, there's also an outplay. There's someone capitalizing on it. And in this series, it has been T1 taking advantage of the mispositioning, and it's been Faker who is really stepping up in this game. Any mistake it felt like that Top was going to be making, Faker was there to punish. He's there finding the pick on Tien as he's walking into those grubs that maybe they shouldn't have been at. He's flashing forward and finishing off JackieLove. He's chasing down kills at the end of the fights, and he's really becoming an X factor in this series.
Yeah, and on Ari again, right?
Yep.
And everyone was really playing out of their minds, I want to say, for T1. Keria also, and in our Baron fight, that is our HyperX Reflex replay, just a little bit of the minutiae into kind of how they play out these team fights and why it is so impressive.
Yeah, and I think Keria was incredible here. He even gets spotted coming into this bush, hops over the wall, sidesteps the chains from Cream, but flashes crucially onto JackieLove, which sets up then for Owner to follow through. And once more, JackieLove out of position is capitalized by T1 thanks to incredible performance by Keria. And the rest of T1 then, with JackieLove out of the fight, are just able to chase down these ragged members on top esports.
We just got the information that TES will be on the blue side, but I do want to talk a bit also about kind of T1 going into this last game now, and the fact that in summer, nobody would have ever thought that they would have been as good as they have been so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a T1 team that came into this World Championship being like, they are going to defend their title, right? Like, they're one like misstep, KT misstep away from not making it to the World Championship at all. So to see them dig in and show up, I think makes those struggles that we saw from them in summer mean so much more to see this team be able to show up once again on the international stage.
I'm going to say it just adds to the aura of this team. It just doesn't feel like
time.
the summer split ever matters. You know they're going to deliver at Worlds.
It's crazy, and it happens so many times. Now, TES Dagda, as your prediction hangs into bounds. Actually, it's already
dead.
It's already at the window.
It's already good. What are they going to do? They're going to stay on the blue side here.
I think it's already too late, to be honest.
Oof.
I think this is a team that has definitely had struggles when it comes to mental. And I think at this stage, they have been way too hesitant. We haven't seen them play to their game. And what has been exceptional for them domestically has now disappeared on the international stage. I honestly think at this stage it's T1 3-0.
Wow, TES, I mean, your savior has deserted you. Even Dagda has no faith in you. Well, maybe this is when they can rally, as we see that pose we know so well out of Faker, getting into the zone to perhaps book his ticket to the semifinals next.
And here we are. Will it be the 3-0? Will TES be able to mount that comeback? The potential of a reverse sweep. The pressure on this team. I think that that's a fair call. We have to see more than what we've seen across those first two games from TES. Yes, it was close, but close is not enough. It's not enough to trade cooldowns evenly when you're going to lose in the clutch fight. So now they're back on blue. What will change? How will they adapt? What can TES show us in this game 3?
And they need to give us a good amount of creativity, because what we have seen from them so far has not worked out. And the B1 Silas now no longer seems to be on the table, as Faker was able to make that Ari counterpick work for what feels like the first time consistently throughout this tournament.
Look at that respect.
Yeah, as we enter Champions Select powered by Omen and HyperX, you can already see Carry as Rakan taken off the board, but I feel like TES are just juggling problem champions to ban. First it was the Vi, then it was the Sejuani, and this is how it feels when you lose the first two games. You have to hope that there's more that they have prepared for this series, because thus far every option has failed them. The Rumble now taken out. They don't want to see it on either side, but the junglers wide open. Sejuani in game 1 was the pick. The Vi still available for Owner if he wants it, and the Silas remains the priority for TES.
Okay, and they slam instantly the Gnar as well. With the Jackson, Renekton, and Cassante and everything all up, they want that versatile pick for Zeus.
And this feels like a call-out. Zeus has gotten the better of 369. Well, and I feel like just full confidence picking Gnar here just means that you feel like you're better.
That's straight up this. You're picking Gnar into Silas.
Yeah.
That is what's next. They're going to pick Alistair. That's one of the best ultimates that you can possibly get. Oh, that's Faker's.
The Galio, one of the ones we mentioned in the previous game as a possible cook into the Silas, but shows up here. I will say there is a slight swinging door open for a flex even into support, although that is very far down the draft. Yeah. Would have to be a very big surprise towards the end, but they are red side, and generally they're going to save Carria's final pick, the counter pick, to red side, so keep it a little bit open.
Sin coming through, strong mid jungle duo, but I will say with Gnar locked in, you highlighted the Silas interaction, but also the Rage Bar means that T1 aren't going to have the same liberty to play at arm's length like they did in the previous game. They will need to go in when that Gnar bar is up. It's going to take them about 30 seconds to recharge it. That's not a difficulty Silas is going to have when he steals that ult away, so they have to be decisive. Now it's the Kaisa coming out, the potential for picks here from the side of TES.
IG Kaisa slammed here. Let's see it.
For Jackie Love, it also means that I think with the Ezreal, we already saw him have a lot of agency. In a very different way, Kaisa does exactly that. The amount of late game teamfight carry potential you have, the possibility of poke come mid to late game is really strong. I do feel like Kaisa, contrary to the Ezreal, that starting at 2 items becomes a menace. You need more time, and that is a bit of a gambit given how more time in this series has always favored T1. Guma, last game, I gave some flack to Isaiah. I will remain convinced for now, after that game he played, was able to both maximize damage in the fights and never get touched.
This is the struggle, obviously. Blue side gives you that first pick priority access on the Silas. The red side for T1 means they're likely to have counter pick for support, so already seeing some of the worst defenders taken off the board. The Renata, universally quite powerful. jungle pool still relatively open. Again, Sejuani, Vi, both been banned in this series, not banned here.
Area soaking bans here. What will be the final one from TES? These two, of course, the go-to pairings with the Xayah. And Keria doesn't have to go with another engaged support, but he very well might. They opt to go for the Vi instead here. Take it away from Owner, who has been so good at it at Worlds with it so far.
Owner's pick expected to come through here.
Sejuani
is, yeah.
Malachi even is a well, not into a Silas.
Yeah, he already has enough good ultimate.
They already gave him the Gnar. I don't think they want to give him anything else.
Oh,
okay.
Yep, that
even better.
Oh, that is such a sick pick into everything that TS has
Literally
so far.
literally
all of them.
How many times yesterday did we see Peanut block a Kaisa from being able to dive into the back line and finish a kill off? And that is what TES want to be able to do with all these champions. Find these isolated targets, pick them off before the Galio, before anyone else can get involved.
Also, like, you're running, again, a dive, a short-range comp into Poppy Galio. That's
Also,
always going to be tough. I think you need to go for something like a Hail Mary, but
it's still a flex.
You're literally diving into anti-dive right now.
Yeah.
You are full diving into full anti-dive. That is a scary proposition for TES.
That's not great.
That is a very scary proposition for TES. But you can't pull off the brakes now. You're already really committed to full dive, so they're going to full send it. But T1 have literally some of the best, if not the best, anti-dive in the entire game drafted for themselves.
Also, just Mertrez is insane in this game. The damage reduction, the tenacity. Now, again, the Poppy remains a flex. We saw Peanut bring it out in the jungle. The Poppy support, super popular at MSI, less successful here at Worlds thus far. What is the angle? Ooh.
We don't trust Keria, guys. Don't worry. We'll see what actually ends up getting locked in here. I do think continuing with the theme of counter dive definitely is the way to go.
The global pressure. Instead, it's the Pike!
And that goes all the way back to the DRX Keria days. This man loves his Pike.
It feels so poetic against what could be an elimination game for yet another LPL team against T1. Another name on the list for T1. How many times have they taken down an LPL representative? How many times have they knocked down the hopes of this region? It's volatile, it's explosive, and I'll be honest, it's pretty damn risky, but T1 are gonna go for the Pike.
I think it's a really good pick into stuff like the Xin. You know, they want to try and pressure Tien and look for picks on him. The jungle plus support duo here is just so lethal. Poppy already counters Xin mobility, which is very limited to begin with, and Pike can punish it over and over and over. You burn that Xin flash one time, it feels like support jungle is massively, massively in the favor there of T1. They also have legendary Faker at Worlds, Galio, at their back, ready to throw down Galio ultimates. I foresee the beginning of this game, Owner and Keria being able to run wherever they want and determine the pace.
And again, a game where Keria has so much agency. We haven't seen Pike since 2022 Worlds. This is a champ that, similar to the Rakan, can be anywhere, can dance around a lot of these picks. The difference, Pike does a hell of a lot of damage early on. If he goes for the Hail of Blades, this is going to be tough to match.
Plus, it's a huge pressure on your mid lane matchup because this Galio pick into Silas is already threatening, has so much setup potential, and now you're gonna have to worry about Pike roams from bottom lane, Poppy possible ganks as well from Owner. There's so much potential here. TES though, they have to dig deep. Our whole site has to be on TES right now. This is a must-win game for them to keep their year alive.
And in their first best of 5, back at MSI, right, which was Cream's first international, they were able to crawl their way back to a game 5, and then unfortunately dropping to Gen G, but that was the eventual tournament winner. But what was much more harrowing was then the follow-up series, where they got 3-0'd. And you gotta imagine the amount of pressure on these players just to ensure that it does not happen again is something that's gonna be weighing heavily on their minds as we go into this possibly final game.
And for Tien, early jungle pick, a proactive early jungler. Diego wasn't successful. The Ivern was not successful. This is our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz for damn good reason, because this is the house that this man won Worlds in. And now he's on the cusp of yet another failure for a TES team that has been haunted for years. Keria pulling away the blue, resetting the early pathing, and already it's starting off with a small edge.
He can do it again.
Pike value showing up already here for Keria. As you can see, Owner on the opposite side of the map because of the lane swap, starting on enemy Wolves with the Poppy and cleanly clearing their side of the map. Keria now trying to get his level 2 in mid lane. Again, the top laners have the ability to teleport over. They try and defend with the level 2 tops and level 2 supports.
This pairing of Gumayushi and specifically Zeus and Gnar to just mow down turrets is something that T1 have been using actually really consistently. They love this pairing of Guma together with Zeus on a pick that can actually push nicely early. We'll see how much value they're going to get out of it this time around.
And you can see level 2, they'll just delete that wave, the power of the boomerang, as well as the feather collar. Faker and Keria try to get a bit of work done in the mid lane. Again, Pike alone does a lot of damage in those early levels. A Bone Skewer into the triple auto from Halo Blades, usually enough to take about half the health of any level 1 or level 2 champion.
So Keria's going to try and slip in for the defense here. Owner actually went back to base, so they're going to teleport in top lane and try and 3-person defend, but Keria getting pushed out from even getting to the tower itself. Owner is on the way walking. Guma is also walking, so they keep Zeus topside while everybody else from T1 walks.
Zeus, excuse me, able to snipe a little bit of XP there without having to overcommit. Waiting to see if the TP would come through. Getting so much. 369 delayed on the recall. Ooh. Keria stunned. Pike squishy early on, but obviously get to the drown, keeping him relatively topped up.
That stun had hit so close there. Does not get the stun under the tower though.
Yeah, because Jackie actually did have turret aggro, took one, which is why his health bar kind of got chunked. The short-term benefit definitely here for TES. The advantage that T1 got out of that is that Zeus still has his TP. Whereas 369 had to use it to go towards the top half of the map. But early gold lead, as you would expect in a lane swap, goes to the team that has their normal lane or has their multitude of members towards the bot side of the map.
Yeah, teleport advantage and experience advantage for the Gnar here, for Zeus. And an exceptional performer for this squad. Again, last couple of years, he has knocked out 369 as well, regardless of 369 being on a different team.
Will be the third year in a row.
And sadly for TES, JDG was in semis both times the 369 was knocked out. It was not a quarterfinal. But they might not even get to see semis.
Might is good. Mako tried to...
Phase rush as well, so he'll be able to get another auto down, just zoom after Mako, ensure that he can really just not do anything on the map. Keria on the way as well.
See how deep they go with it.
Follow-up stun, forces the flash. And Mako has to respect this because the burst damage in early levels from Poppy and Pike together is incredible.
Yeah, Keria was pretty deep, so he ends up having to flash himself as well. Owner was already rotating to this top side.
Tian, can he cover this dive? 369, not really great wave clear. Meganar fading away. Zeus a little bit more vulnerable. You can see that XP advantage paying off as 369 tries to get what he can.
But he doesn't have TP, so any damage that can come down onto him is gonna really stick.
Yeah, Zeus with the experience advantage, with the teleport advantage, chunking away, poking under tower, working away at half of a turret plate already.
Right now, T1 constantly active on the map. TES doing a good job of at least staying even in terms of overall gold. They're kind of forced to respond to what T1 is doing. Hook is excellent. Bob is there. Ignite 2! It's a clean combo!
He knew! The setup, again, as we said, is always available in the Galio-Silas matchup. Keria is there. They easily execute. And T1, they start their snowball. They craft it in the lane swap and in mid lane first.
And it's the Pike that gets the kill as well. And there's a lot of supports where getting an early kill doesn't feel too impactful, but this pick snowballs so insanely well when you can get the early items.
And we'll see what the early itemization choice is, if it's still something like Umbral, if he wants to provide that additional utility to the team. But regardless, this is so frustrating because it feels like for 3 games now, Keria has been so active on the map for the entire duration of the game, and it's something that TES have not been able to stymie, slow down, or stop. Mako once again on the back foot. Yes, he has Leona, such a powerful pick. But Keria has just been able to be in more places thanks to the Bard, thanks to things like this Pike.
2 Galio ults available here as we do have our first grub fight on our hands. Ona gets the smite.
Smite level 5, probably very, very tanky. Nice interrupt coming in from Ona, that's steadfast presence. Tian Still full health, so second grub is going to go over to the side of TES. Good to have that early boon. Again, 4 grubs, the threshold, but in an excellent position for the second spawn. T1 trying to get some bot lane priority, but don't have the best early dragon contest.
What's been so cool to watch T1 in this series, of course the outplays, you know, and the execution in their fights, but also they haven't taken any of these unnecessary fights from their perspective. You know, giving up the ones that they, well, let's see about this chicken fight first.
Taunt being down big, but Faker is able to just punch his way out to safety.
And what the Bard and the Pyke have in common as well, and in this game we did actually end up lane swaps, is that the amount of impact that Keria had, I think, domestically was negligible. The coordination wasn't there. So him, particularly on these extremely heavy roam champions, actually making the plays work out really big. I also want to highlight, as might have a play of Cream again.
Going in, into the taunt, follow-up CC there. Cream getting lower and lower. Don't quite have the burst damage to finish him off, but yeah, no TP, so that damage is going to stick. He has 3 biscuits and a pot. He's going to need to start chugging immediately.
Owner is on his way over on the Poppy as well. They're just pushing him out. Look at the zoning. You don't have to even go for too much more. You just push Cream away from the big old minion wave, deny a couple of minions there at the tower, make TES call the rest of their resources, call over TN, call over Mako to even help Cream be able to salvage the minions.
Something I do really like, want to highlight this, even though it is going to impact the team fighting, is that it looks like 369 is actually going for AD Cannon. Because you already have the Kai'Sa, you have the Silas, you're not really in need of AP. The downside is that the team fighting value is really going to be struggling. And to me, AD Cannon is one of those picks that is very win more. And with the way that the early lane played out, Zeus had an early level lead, so you haven't actually been able to build the lead that I think you need for this pick to work inside.
It's true. And T1 also have the Pyke, which is also a win more style pick. And so it feels like whichever team, similar to last game, is able to find that edge. A significant gold lead of any kind is really set to run away with this game 3 in a situation where TES are down 2 games. They have to find advantage. 369 walking up.
Keria's here.
Mako going forward, not quite able to find the knockback into the wall. TN still has ultimate. Mako taking his time. Resistance is now fading away. An excellent use of the steadfast presence. Galio coming in. Faker en route. Jackie Love isolating Guma. Faker stepping up, and TN there to body block for the team. Keep your eyes on that Pyke hook. TN pulled over the wall. Owner not quite able to find the wall bang. TN now forced to retreat. Cream going in. Hasn't taken an ulti quite yet. Ulti response from the Poppy, though. Can just keep the channel going, get that cooldown down to 15 seconds. And Zeus just trying to clear this wave as quickly as he can, but Mega is getting stacked.
He has flash.
Zeus should be in trouble, but he makes the move first! He looks him dead in the eye and says, I dare you!
And Cream even had the Gnar ultimate, but Zeus was still ahead of him.
T1 strike first again. Under tower, pressured, low health bars, and the flash comes through into the wall, comboed into Faker's taunt, and T1 3-0 on the board.
And the confidence and execution has just been better for T1 across this series, and we see it again. They had all of the tools to kill that Gnar, but in the seconds that rage bar ticked up, they didn't go fast enough. They weren't confident enough to take that play, and it all fell apart. Cream still has access to this Gnar ultimate for a little bit longer. Maybe he can get something back, but it's starting to feel like the writing is on the wall.
T1 have just looked fearless in this whole series. Last game was most evident in the quick plays. Here, these small advantages are actually accrued by TES. The big chunks in health bar on Owner, on Zeus there. The Galio ultimate already down. But look, Keria looks for another play. They get a flash out of TN, then Cream comes over with the extra health bar, and they want to force it. The small things, you know, Conqueror here, already stacked by Cream. He wants to keep it up. They turn towards Zeus.
And you can see the desperation, because even if they somehow get an ultimate, like Zeus was gonna hit Mega no matter what in that play. And I think it's the pressure getting to TES. They could have opted out of that play and just taken the summoners, but they don't, and that might very well be it.
And Zeus says, you may have stolen my ultimate, but you're just the knockoff version. Shows him the real thing.
And now second grub spawn. This is the thing, it's not just the gold to Zeus, it's control of the map, it's control in the 1v1. It's a 1,000 gold lead for Faker in the isolated 1v1 versus Silas.
And this was the champion that Faker used to desperately try and 1v9 his way to another Worlds win, right? Fell short, got dispatched by Samsung. And in this game, still the most fed member, by the way, making the impact on the side lanes as they look for another possible play onto Zeus. But now, because of those kills, or because of the assists rather, like Zeus has a lead into this AD matchup. It looks like Cream is gonna possibly get zoned off of the wave again.
Keria is a menace. This whole series, T1 dominating. Cream just has to watch.
And there's nothing he can do. Waits for the wave to get trimmed a little bit before he can even step up. Knows that he has to clear it, and again, with Death from below available, Ignite, Hail of Blades, a Pike ahead of the curve, and a Galio that already has enough MR to mitigate any damage Cream could hope of doing. There's just so few angles to play. When you have the AD Kennen, when you have the Sylas, if you get a lead, you can really take over the map. But they're behind so early. They're behind before Kennen's even completed an item.
I already dislike AD Kennen, so as soon as you start talking about it.
I pointed it out, and I wish you guys could have seen Kobe's face. Because I'm like, oh, maybe, you know, and Kobe was not. I mean, he's not having it.
I mean, dream scenario is you can like get to a point where you're playing side lanes, but they haven't been able to play.
You're also playing into Galio. I know you have Silos, but even then.
Also into Pike, right, who can just collapse on the side lane so quickly as, again, Keria continues to wreak havoc. Good on TES. They are able to grab the objective. We're better on the setup. Did get the push out. Still behind, but holding on to something in this game.
The idea is we can play a large map. We can try and draw them apart. We have Jackie Love on Kaisa. We can try and make some trap plays.
Try to collapse,
but because they just keep getting behind so early here to T1 by simply outplaying them, it just seems like it is so out of reach.
Look at the siege.
Guys,
Mid lane turret is just getting obliterated. TES continuously getting bullied off these turrets, and they have another desperation play in them. But like the gold lead is very quick. We're talking about 3.5K at 30 minutes.
What's terrifying is as the series has progressed, T1 have gotten more dominant in every single game. And yes, last game was slow. It came down to 1 or 2 fights, but they out executed when it mattered. TES need to be willing to get aggressive. They need to be able to fish for these picks. This one probably won't work because Faker, again, doesn't take damage.
He has Mercs and Hollow Radiance.
Yeah.
He's not taking damage.
1.7K gold ahead, fully built. Like, Faker is built different, and it is going to be too difficult to take him down.
I never knew what we meant by that was Mercs and Hollow Radiance, but now I understand very specifically what people mean when they say he's built different. As Pike going in, Phantom Undertow is clean, 369 running.
Oh, come on!
Hold on to the blast, but there's Owner! The blast, the knockback into the wall, the knock-up as well. Might's coming in. T1 making a montage out of TES in Game 3.
TES coming for the closing on the play.
Don't do it to him, MasterCard. Don't do it to him. Oh, the lane economy is bad. The economy is difficult. The economy is rough for TES again. Need to find angles, need to find fights, but a 5K gold difference before 15 minutes. TP in. T1 know they're stronger. They just want to keep fighting. They want to further cement their lead. Zayas rage perfectly stacked. Cream, a chance of redemption. Can he find the angle this time around? The hook back. He's forced to flash away. Zayas shepherding them in. No play here for T1. Maybe a bit over eager.
Looks like mid will fall to the minions there. So T1 not even gonna be that sad about that trade.
Another hook. Jackie Love forced to cleanse. Not quite in range of the taunt. T1 almost getting the perfect combo.
I'm gonna have nightmares about Keria's Pike, honestly.
I was about to say,
is he gonna hook you next?
Well, I don't know.
Hold on to me.
I got your Kobe. Don't worry. We're not gonna let him get to you.
Keria's gonna hook you down to the stage.
The problem is Keria's not only terrifying TES, he's also going to ruin solo queue because everyone who thought, you know, maybe I don't need to play this champion, maybe it's not worth.
The bards and pikes are going to be everywhere.
The bards and pikes are out tonight, boys. Halloween is coming early this year.
I want to give a little piece of wisdom by Keria himself. You are not T1 Keria, and your team is not T1. Do not attempt to play this. And we're making jokes because it feels like this game is just completely out of control. Maybe TES can find the turn.
This has to be it. They have to get something here, but Owner's already walked away. Taunt coming from Faker. Nice ulti coming in from Cream. Owner set to fall.
That's one.
They could get a tower as well. The minion wave on bottom side. Maybe they can just push out this wave. They're not done.
Keria going in, finds the initial stun. No, Tien able to sidestep on the Phantom Undertow. Guma. Gnar there for Zayas. Wall up there, coming in as well. Zayas getting lower. TES trying to hold on to the fights. Tien now chasing in. Jackie Love quick to follow. Guma has has the ulti, has the cleanse, has the flash. Feathers go up, comes down, walks away, knows that this is not their fight. TES striking back in this crucial game 3.
The second kill plus, they can keep pushing.
Another hook, carry's not done. Jackie Love's out of tools, going to the depth. No, it's clean! This man plays Pyke. You love to see it, the ult. Not there for the execute, there for the range extension on the Phantom Undertow.
Still, TS got to focus on the objectives. Tower that they were pushing towards on the bottom side. They need every bit of gold they can find on the Rift, and they find a tiny bit more there.
These are the moments where if TES is going to make their way back, it's going to have to start small, individual pickoffs.
Yep. One step at a time.
T1 feel invulnerable with the lead that they have, but they are not ready for this teleport. This time, Cream does actually get a really nice Gnar into the wall, allowing him to take out Owner. And then T1, again, as T1 does, goes in very aggressively. Crucially, Cream doesn't get hit by Zayas. So then Zayas is in Narnia. Faker doesn't actually deny Jackie Love access to the fight, and they're able to get another kill.
Good fight overall. You can see here, though.
This was Carrier.
This
Look,
is how
look,
you know.
look at the threading.
The bad Pikes, ult is just an execute. The good Pikes,
Jackie.
oh yeah.
Oh, the reposition using the ultimate to ensure the stun lands after the flash.
Jackie walked out of the comfort of those minions.
That's Lobark having a good time.
Look at the confidence. Carrier, that man is locked in. That man is laser focused. But the good news, again, for TES, T1 have not won yet. Cream, the potential to steer that Gnar ultimate in all the fights to come, only getting more and more AP. T1 over eager in the previous fight, and TES now with much better tools to punish. And again, Pyke is not a champion who scales gracefully into the game. Later, he's just going to get one shot by any piece of CC.
And can TES get to the point where they do pull T1 across the map? Now that both side lane towers are down, they're threatening these trailing plays, walking behind 369 as he pushes up. 369 with the teleport available as they go for the jungle invade. Owner again with the smite actually secures.
Steadfast presence comes out a little bit early, perhaps. T1 walking away. TES starting to move up. You can see them grouping so much. No one is responding to top wave yet. They're going to send Cream to catch it. They're going to at least clear out mid, try to use that pressure to get some control somewhere on the map.
With the game state, again, 4.5k gold lead, definitely quite rough. My main thing, we haven't really talked about him yet, is the fact that Guma is disaccelerated. Specifically, him on Xayah gives so much additional safety in team fights. I think we saw in the previous fight, he wasn't really able to be a big part of it, which was a large reason of why TES was able to actually make the plays. But Jackie only sitting on an item. We talked about this, the spike for this Kai'Sa isn't really going to be the same way it was, and that was also a very different game state with the Ezreal being even, as opposed to really far behind. But you really need that third item before you become a big menace. But with Guma being as far ahead as he is, I think TES is going to have to find a way to get on top of the Xayah. Infinity Edge now done as well.
But getting on top of anyone on T1 has been the struggle of TES across the entire series. They're just always out of reach.
Again, because in draft, T1 recognized very early on that you're going to go for dive, and so they're drafting all this counter dive. Galio, Poppy, Xayah, even Gnar. And T1 here pushing out once again, sending Faker to the top side with his newly completed Rift Maker.
Area.
It's a lot of
He's
people.
a little bit crazy. It's just going to swap places there. The hook, the Phantom Undertow. Now TES starting to get back to that vision control. Umbral Glaive allowing T1 so much more control. As long as it's not off cooldown, you know you're invisible on the map.
Gold lead has been very stable though, and for TES, I think that's the best you're going to get in a situation like this. Try and trade as evenly as you can. As you get deeper into the game, those relative differences of items are going to matter less. I do got to say though that this 80 cannon, again, the position that you're in, you're 900 gold behind on a pick that really needs to get an early lead and kind of run away with it if you want to be able to actually match the teamfight impacts of the Gnar.
Plus, the problem right now is, even if you want to play so much on side lanes and on a spread map, it's really difficult the way the game is set up with objectives to actually fully win a game that way. And so, at some point, you're going to be forced to try and go through a Poppy and through a Galio ult. T1 here, though, poking around, trying try and flirt with a possible red steal, but it will not be theirs. TES secure it.
Keria, again, going very deep for these plays.
Constantly off to the side, but again he has Mercs able to walk away initially. Poppy all coming out, but it's not enough. Key pick. T1 now trying to disengage desperately, but Cream going in. Gumayushi not going to force to ult.
Mako's had enough. Mako has had enough of Keria's antics. The punish is good from TES, but unfortunately for them, there is no big objective to take, and so it's just the kill money for now.
But good to get that money back. Crucial to get that money back. Again, 2 items on Jackie. You talked about 3 items when that poke can start to come through. Stop T1 from being able to find fights so reliably. Even with MR in the inventory, that Kaisa poke can be insurmountable.
Faker's on his way.
Faker off to the side. 369. But it's Faker versus 4 here on the bottom side. Faker can force ult out. Being zoned off, ensuring that Zeus can push the wave, but that TP not really amounting to much.
Yeah, they want to take advantage since Cream was up on top side with no teleports to be able to join, but the rest of T1 also a bit too far for the real trap.
And I will say that the discipline we saw from T1 in Game 1 and Game 2 isn't quite as omnipresent.
Well, I think most of them have been very disciplined. I think Keria has not. As you do when you play Pyke.
That's fair.
Definitely trying to style a little bit, but do not underestimate TES. Still, the team fighting potential of this team. Again, I want to go in that Gnar ultimate that Silas can steal. With Jakilov now hitting his 2-item spike, see if they're able to use that as... If they lose another fight, then the Baron becomes available for T1. They have control of the pit, start of the objective here, as Zeus does just now timeout on his Mega Gnar.
Good fight timing. Keria not going to hit the hook, force back for at least a few seconds.
There's the TP.
TP now coming in, 369, not the AP Kennen. Again, is about to just get one shot completely here. Keria finding the kill onto 369. TES trying to fire back, but they're down a man. There might not be a Mega Gnar for T1, but they might not need it. Tien, at the very least, getting the steal. Retreat coming out. Keria will not find the hook.
Might go towards Nash. Is T1. Don't see the pings going down, but they are very clearly thinking in that direction. No 369, 20 seconds, does have the teleport available.
Cream no ultimate, Kennen no ultimate, Tien no ultimate. This is such
a
brutal fight.
No, it's not being started yet.
That blue ward is crucial. Guma gonna start it. They're baiting. They're forcing T1 to come respond. Or sorry, excuse me, TES to respond. Mako. Where's the hook gonna go? Faker right on top of Mako. Cream doesn't really have a recourse here. Owner looking for the knockback, but Cream the ulti just in time. Knocking it 2. Jackie Love still standing. Keria running for the hills. It's all about this 80 carry. It's all about Jackie Love. 369. No ulti. Maybe no hope. Flashback onto the ultimate from Zeus. The taunt not gonna connect. Crucially, the stun coming up 369. TES. Jackie Love fighting their way back in Game 3. But Guma stands strong. The blades are called, the feather's there, Jackie Love gone, Keria stepping up, the hook not going to hit. Zeus running, a close fight, but T1 still standing.
And so much is invested there, but the fight, even though it was close, still not going the way of TES, but crucially, they deny the Baron attempt here from T1.
Look at the face check here, right into Faker again, so you think it's gonna be all over as they just burst down Mako, put the return damage. Jackie firing, gets the first kill for them, takes down Owner, and then it's all about the focus damage. Jackie flashes both Faker and Zeus for the re-engage. The Galio shield barely keeping him up. Jackie commits to go finish him, and Guma punishes.
But at that point, like that Galio is out of the fight, going in that aggressively might come back to bite you. You used both summoners. You got the kill on the tank, but Guma got the immediate shutdown. And T1 still trying to actually close out this game. Guma now on free items on the Xayah.
TES showing some life, though, in these fights. Fighting back. They are not going to go down that easily. Let's see about the next attempt, because they're grouping for it.
Can't afford to make a mistake, though. 2.5 items to 3. Guma's looking powerful. Good interrupt on the initial engage coming in from Mako. No re-engage option there. Locket gone. Zeus on the side, but he just went mini. And
That
T1.
was a tumultuous blast cone.
A little bit awkward. Hook from Keria. Follow up, Cream forced to dash and Protobelt again. T1 just chipping away at these TES cooldowns.
Jackie has to be so careful now, too. No summoner spells on the Kaisa. With Guma having both, you have to think that Xayah will just be so
They do have
safe.
Vision. with the crab that they got. So no, that Baron isn't being started. T1 still fishing. I don't think they're really going to get anything here.
Guma trying to do a little baiting maybe even here with the Zaya, with ult and double sums. Very confident to
And
take
they
the
go,
minion wave.
this is such an easy Baron for T1. If TES walk into this 3-item Zaya, they will get
Masher's
slaughtered.
done for Jackie. That's that 3-item power point, but I don't know if he's going to be in
late to the
time.
objective.
Burn, burn, burn.
369. Kennen ready to go. 3K getting lower. Knocked back by Owner. Finishes the job, and now it's Mako who's been caught out. T1 with the Baron. They're looking to grab the pick as well. Flashback from Mako. TES trying to stand strong. Zayas ready to go into the midst of the fight. Knockup not going to connect from the Galio. TN starting to walk forward. TES do not want to let them walk away with this Baron buff, but they might have to. TN going in. A little bit of poke going back. Jackie Love again, the AP he needs to continue to harass, but T1 crucially walk away with the Baron.
Mako has to go back to base. They actually got such a good Poppy ultimate combined with Faker, trapping Mako for the big damage and earning the extra health bar lead. After they had already acquired the Baron, now they can push out.
Guma still had his sums, had his ultimate available there, right? If you over dive into that and he can just kite back with the feathers. Now he's level 16!
I mean, and the thing is, you have to fight him. You have to go into him. Your
There's
wave
no
clear.
choice.
Your wave clear on this team is abysmal. Yes, you're so good at these scrappy fights, the side lane Kennen, but it's not AP Kennen. He can't just one-shot. He can't one-shot clear a wave. And so the options for TES are starting to dwindle one by one in the face of this T1 Baron buff.
Yeah. 369, actually, he was the one getting one shot at the last Dragon fight.
Yeah.
Going right next to the wall. This time around, with Dragon spawning very shortly, T1 have an easy way to pick up the bottom tower. Keria actually is tanking it.
Still a lot of HP for that, but has the Baron powered recall, so we'll be fine. And now the collapse from T1. Recognizing the 369. Trying to put pressure on the side wave.
Another TP!
And again, another situation. Flash out from Guma.
It's good.
Positive trade
They
on the
got
top
the trap.
side. Owner gonna get taken down. Good trap. Knockback. No, he's not!
Come on! He gets them both!
Cream chasing. No one else here, but surely he can take down Owner. Knockback. The Poppy zooming. The chain lash should surely get the job done, and it will. Keria won't be able to save the jungler, but it costs so much for TES.
Dragon's up!
TES, they just keep holding on by such a small margin. Critical pick taking down T1's jungler. No spite for T1
Double
now.
TPs and a massive wave bot side.
Oh,
Someone on TS has to respond.
They also got the flash from Guma. Tian actually doing a lot of damage, but Guma, he's just soloing the dragon!
Can TS look for something while Owner is down?
Zeus, again, stacking that rage.
Not
TES have to be
afraid.
careful. They can't afford to take the fight when Meganar is present. Jackie Love's summoner spell cooldowns right around the corner. Flash about to be up. Maybe then TES can try to find their fight.
And TES, they don't want this to be a repeat of their 3-0 at MSI. Trying their very hardest, still clinging on to this game, even though it is tenuous. Jackie Love about to hit his Void Staff, slowly getting closer to the penetration item for Cream as well. But I do think, again, if that damage doesn't land on the Guma, I don't know how much of it matters.
Initial hook, just a bit of poke, though. At least no Mako's there.
He's low.
Guma isolated, forced to ult a little bit earlier than anticipated. Phantom Undertow to try to cover the retreat. T1 backing up. TES looking to gain control of the mid-wave. Meanwhile, 369 to the bottom lane, pushing up, putting that pressure on T1, but T1 might just look for the 5v4. Keria hook going wide. Still has the spell shield for now, however.
Guma can just heal up off the jungle camps right now, but the split push is taking its toll. Another minion wave here up to the tower. 369 taking away extra turret health. Meanwhile, T1 actually makes a cross map play.
Tier 2 likely for Tier 2, but Cream is stepping up.
Gonna take him a while. Compared to that 80 cannon.
Going in, finds the initial stun, steals away the Pike ulti. Keria instantly gone, knows he can't afford that one. So it will be the trade in the end, but good defense from Cream to stop them from getting anything else.
Look at Jackie. See if he can find a W. Doesn't look like it. Keria not going to give him the opportunity.
Keria is incredibly vulnerable when that spell shield is not available.
TES holding on, sticking in this series, just barely. See big item completions coming through for T1 though. It gets harder and harder and harder.
Oh, maul for Guma.
I mean, they're so much magic damage. AD Kennen it's tough to balance.
But he kind of has to with the comp, right? The reason he's doing it is because Jackie wanted to go AP Kaisa.
100%. And AP Kaisa is incredibly, like the poke is so good against the T1 comp that really doesn't have any poke of their own. So there's a world where, as it starts to even up, as these goal differences start to mean less and less, where TES can just sit at arm's reach, the same way that T1 have done to them the last 2 games, they just poke with this Kaisa.
Breakpoint, though, is going to be this Baron fight, because T1 is 100% going to try and take that. While their lead is as big as it is, 3 items on Zeus, 3 items on Faker, 4 items on Guma, but we are slowly getting to the point where, as you mentioned, I think particularly Jackie Love having the agency, looks like he's going for the Crypt Bloom, trying and get the poke, trying and keep that backline of T1 guessing.
How much power is in that IG Kaisa, that world champion? Is it enough to put a stop to T1's dominance in this series?
And this is a team built on legends of years past. 369's won MSI, Jackie Love, Mako, TN, all winning worlds on different lineups in different years. To go out like this again, to go out well before you're supposed to against a T1 that no one expected to perform at this tournament. Against a T1 that took down so many seeds of the LPL, each and every single one of them last year would be crushing. In a city where TN himself won worlds.
Yeah, there it is. As expected, T1, look at the darkness, Umbro Glaive. It's only going to be the poke from Jackie that can try and provide a little bit of vision in the darkness.
Another Baron, another round of baits. The dance continues. T1 have gotten so many picks throughout this entire series baiting on Baron. Now they're just going to try and burn through it. Again, they start damage.
It's just gone.
Guma's not even showing that he's doing damage to Baron. He's poking at mid, now they go. The Scryers is there.
TP immediately coming in from 269, but he's behind the team. He's not looking to play for the flank. Objective getting burned down. TN doesn't really have access into the pit. 2-man taunt coming in as well. Carrier starting to step up, so they're going a bit wide, but it's Cream on the flank. Cream has to do so much, but the feathers are there! Oh, Gumayushi was just one step ahead. The flank denied, but the rest of TES trying to make good. Oh, what Cream put together.
Baker is down. T1 just have to leave. The price they paid for that Baron.
Does mean a possible soul point here for TES. As that exit kill was big, the TP to come in. They have to force the issue right now while Faker is dead. And not allow T1 to use the power of this Baron buff.
Cream still has the Nora ultimate. Still that lingering threat. Guma, flash, cleanse, ult. It has to come down to him if they want to stop this.
Carrier's behind them.
How much can the Pike do in isolation? Spell shield there. Waiting as long as possible.
Heart attacks. All game long.
T1 doesn't have to go for this, though. They can just push with Baron if they decide to do so.
They want the fight. Meganar stacked, ready to go. Cream again on the flank, the objective already down. Again, TES, good discipline. They walk away immediately, but they need to take care of these waves.
One cannon minion here for T1 to push with. Don't know if they'll be able to do much, though, because Faker's got to catch bottom.
And credit to TES. Yes, they concede Baron, but at this kind of deficit, it feels like an inevitability short of a desperate flash in. Cream has a decent flank. It's interrupted initially, but that kill onto Faker buys TES a bit more space, a bit more time, slows this Baron down. There's only 90 seconds, 3 waves more left on this Baron buff. They've already handled 2 of them.
Yep, TS getting options for themselves. Jackie able to poke with the Kaisa W's now. Options for the side lanes as well. They don't have teleports currently, so T1 should have the big advantage in side lanes and looking for the trap play. Yes, might have to worry a little bit, but Jackie continues to grow. Level 17 now for that Kaisa.
And Guma's maxed out. Like, yes, level 18 full build now, finishes his BT, which I do really like into Kaisa specifically. The extra sustain makes a big difference because this poke really hurts with Crypt Bloom now done. But it does feel, again, with some of the mid-game discipline lacking from T1 and TES not giving up, not taking the punches, but instead looking for counterplay, have given them another opportunity to try and claw their way back into this best of 5.
Credit to TES, this game looked done at 15 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And they have fought back. They have found a way. They've punished T1 where they can. They bought the time that they needed for Jackie Love to scale up, and that's the most you can do. And now the question is, as the fights are starting to get closer and closer and the gold lead means less and less, can they find one more fight to even up this game?
Jackie with the Knight's Vow on him from Mako, and the hopes of TES resting on his shoulders. And they find another pick.
They can't just dive in, is the problem. Their engage is fairly lackluster, right? You're only looking at Carrier trying to hook, and that side wave is getting pushed in again.
Mako has pulled out a few plays, though. See if he can do it again. Some snappy flashes.
And we talked about it earlier, but Carry is at the point in the game where if he missteps, he dies immediately. Hook not going to connect. Mako taunted. Wind becomes lightning. Fighting in the choke, though, difficult against Guma, who does so much work. Easy kill pick up. TS! Caught napping! T1 obliterate them in the blink of an eye.
Is that really how it ends? Just like that? There's no Jackie, there's no Cream, they can't go these waves!
T1 continue to march forward undeterred, unstopped. TN barely escaping, but T1 aren't done. They don't even have a wave. They might not even care. Zayas goes in for the crunch. The wave on the way. T1 looking to knock TES out. The inevitable march forward. T1 refused to lose a best of 5 to the LPL. They add TES to the long list of teams that they have taken down. T1 at Worlds are Titans, and they move on to the semifinals.
They have not done so in 11 years, and they're not planning to start today. This third game looked like it might be a turning point for the series, but it wasn't. It just ended in one big team fight, just like all the other ones.
And sometimes that's all it takes. We've talked enough about T1 and TES. Let's send it over to the analyst desk for more on that series.
T1 at Worlds, they are inevitable. They ramp up even if you thought they wouldn't. They ramp up after even an abysmal summer. They have never, ever missed semifinals at Worlds, and they were not going to start today. They're taking their bow, and I'm blown away. And as always, as we're going to see TES in a minute as well, you know, there is a lot of how did the enemy team do, and I do think that TES really underperformed today, but I don't want to take anything away from how T1 closed out this best.
Yeah, and I think that's the real takeaway, is that it doesn't matter that TES underperformed. The individual performers on T1 were absolutely incredible today. Faker on his Ari looking great in game 1. You look at Zayas being able to hide out a vision on the Camille, but had some great engages too. Keria on this pike took over with some hooks that I didn't even know he was possible to hit him in this game. It was everyone on T1 playing out of their minds here.
Someone wants a Pike skin. That's all I'm saying. They want a Pike skin. But yeah, I think the big thing, again, is the glow up from this T1 team, right? So yes, it is an underperformance from top esports. However, it's also on T1 to deliver. And especially when it came to choosing when to fight and setting up team fights, that's where T1 shone today.
Absolutely. I mean, Carry, I think, was incredible throughout this series, but also a lot of credit deserved by Faker and Zayas in that final game, where Carry wasn't playing a champ where he could actually be primary engaged. They needed to find other ways to start fights. You know, it's top lane, Zayas finding this big Meganar. It's Faker coming out of the brush with a taunt. It's these plays that are actually allowing them to finish the game.
No, absolutely. And I got to talk to Gumayushi earlier on in the tournament, and I said a hallmark of your run last year in general was pushing forward the meta, having the freedom to do what you like, especially in that bot lane. And for me, the Pike pick for Keria in this series specifically, it might be a play for a skin, who knows? But for me, it's also like, it's when the Parkeet dies in the mine, right? It is like, you gotta pay attention. Now you gotta pay attention.
But that's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's Pike, if it's Bard. It's just him getting counterpick is absolutely insane. He has a plethora of champions that he's able to bring to the forefront, and he looks incredible on every single one of them. This man is just impeccable when he's able to do what he wants to do.
They all played out of their minds. I mean, I'm stunned.
What a glow up from this year. Again, like, the reason why I keep harping on this is not because I want to continuously say that T1 are bad, but it's to reiterate how much better they've looked at this tournament, right? Like, the wherewithal to take away from a really down summer for them and then turn it into what we've seen from them thus far is amazing, and to me, it makes a potential run way more special.
It does. We'll talk about their next matchup soon. They will be up against Gen G once again, but it's also a hallmark of of great teams overall, and we talk a lot about other teams in regions and maybe they don't have enough, the right practice to get better. T1 doesn't care about any of that because no matter what state they are in, through their system, through their preparation, through everyone playing out of their minds at Worlds, they do make it happen. And we're just waiting for the interview on stage because it will be the GOAT himself. 4 titles already, beating the LPL again. Yeah, it wasn't now. You want to say something?
I mean, it's incredible. I was just going to say, and T1 are doing it in their own way. We have Galio mid, which is making some showing, but we have the Bard, we have the Pyke, we have the Caitlyn. They're playing their own style, and they're finding what fits for them in this tournament.
Yes, I think it's finally time now for the interview on stage because Lore is standing by with the GOAT himself. Let's hear from Faker.
Merci messieurs, thank you so much guys. Paris, du bruit pour T1 et Faker. Ça a été une série incroyable, même si un petit peu one-sided, mais il y a une constante avec T1 à travers les âges. Au-delà des générations, la LPL contre T1, ça va toujours dans un sens. Et je me demande pourquoi. Regardless of the generation, throughout the ages, there's one thing that remains the same, T1 versus LPL, often going the same way. What is your explanation for this, Faker?
정말 세월이 지나고 강산이 바뀌어도 변하지 않는 한 가지가 있는데요. 바로 T1과 LPL을 만나면 언제나 같은 결과가 나오는 것 같습니다. 도대체 비법이 무엇인가요?
오늘 경기에서 좀 잘 됐던 것 같고 그냥 운이 좋았던 것 같습니다.
We were having an amazing game today. I think we got lucky.
Ils passaient une super partie aujourd'hui et ils pensent qu'ils ont eu de la chance, peut-être pas de la chance à chaque fois, mais en tout cas, ils arrivent toujours à être vainqueurs de la LPL. Ça a été une année compliquée pour T1, ça a été une année compliquée pour Faker. Ils ont failli ne pas se qualifier après gagner les Worlds l'an dernier, mais finalement ils sont là. T1 est plus fort que jamais une fois de plus. Quel est le secret pour durer aussi longtemps et quel est le secret pour à chaque fois revenir et surprendre pour revenir au plus haut niveau? I think it's been a difficult year for you overall. After winning Worlds, you were one game away from not making it this time around. And you were the youngest player to win Worlds. You were the oldest player to win Worlds as well. What is the secret behind this longevity and the fact that whatever life throws at you, you're always going to come back?
올 한 해도 사실은 쉽지만은 않은 여정이었습니다. 사실은 정말 한 세트만 졌다면 월드에 진출하지 못할 뻔했고 월드 우승 후에 사실은 많은 역경을 겪으시고 이 자리까지 오셨는데요. 최연소 월드 우승자이시자 최고령 월드 우승자 타이틀도 보유하고 계신데 어떻게 이렇게 언제나 오랜 기간 최고의 경기력을 이렇게 보여주실 수 있는 건가요?
저는 뭐 항상 계속해서 어떻게 하면 발전할 수 있을지 좀 고민하고 또 게임 하는 게 재밌기 때문에 이렇게 또 좋은 결과가 운 좋게 따라와 준 것 같습니다.
I am always constantly thinking about how I'm going to do better, how I'm going to develop myself. Also, I love playing this game League of Legends, so I think the result follows.
Son amour pour le jeu, c'est ça le secret. Now, moving on to semi-finals, what is your resolution for yourself and T1 in general?
4강전, T1 그리고 페이커 선수의 각오가 궁금합니다.
4강전 누가 올라올지는 모르겠지만 굉장히 재밌는 매치가 될 것 같고 이번 8강전 때처럼 좀 좋은 경기력 보여드릴 수 있게 노력하겠습니다.
I don't know who our opponents will be yet, but it's gonna be another banger just like today, and I hope we can keep today's form just like we performed today.
Sans même savoir qui sera leur adversaire, ils espèrent juste que ce match sera un banger et qu'ils réussiront à montrer le même niveau de jeu qu'ils ont réussi à montrer aujourd'hui. Petit message pour vous, last question, dernière question ici. Vous aviez tellement hâte de le voir aujourd'hui, vous avez foutu une ambiance incroyable. Il y en a qui étaient en train de faire la queue à partir de 9h du mat pour voir Faker. Donc je vais lui demander s'il a un message pour vous. today. We're expecting to see you today, and we're so happy. I think you heard that. I think you saw it with the atmosphere at the venue today. Do you have any words for the fans, Faker?
정말 수많은 프랑스 팬분들이 페이커 선수를 다시 한번 볼 수 있는 이 날만을 기다려 왔습니다. 오늘도 보시다시피 정말 큰 사랑과 응원 보내주셨는데요. 한 말씀 부탁드려도 될까요?
네, 파리에서 굉장히 좋은 추억들이 많은데 또 팬분들이 만들어주신 거고요. 그리고 네, 이렇게까지 아직도 네, 인기가 많다는 게 굉장히 감사한 것 같고 항상 또 응원해 주셔서 감사합니다. 멜시.
It's all coming from you guys. You guys made the beautiful memories for me. And I am still very amazed that you guys still love me like this. I always appreciate your support and love. Thank you and merci.
Il apprécie énormément le soutien des Français. Il a passé des souvenirs incroyables à Paris et il nous a remerciés en français à la fin. Faker, 인터뷰 감사합니다. Jason, thank you so much for the translation. Paris, une dernière fois pour Faker et T1, s'il vous plaît.
Oh my God, what an unbelievable moment. I mean, they've seen a lot of Faker in Paris and in France specifically. Sometimes the highs, sometimes it wasn't as good, but he has definitely found a place in their heart. And our GOAT said merci. He said it. Did you hear it?
I heard it, and the people just love him. I'm not sure how clearly it comes across online, but this place is insanely loud. They love Faker. They love watching him play. They love how dedicated he is to the game and how appreciative he seems to be of all the fans.
I did love the grin on Kerry's face as he just swapped through all the champions that Faker plays in game number 1. Hearing that crowd go nuts. I think it's been
The Rise hover was so loud. Like, the crowd loved that.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. I'm so happy we have him in our sport.
And that's why he's the GOAT!
Let's
go, the GOAT!
So we had this graphic at the beginning of the day being everyone that Faker took out of the quarterfinals specifically. Let's grayscale everybody because some have been added, I think.
Add them to the list.
Yep. You can see all of TES there.
Oh, right, I'm
On the
sorry,
right-hand
yeah.
side,
Don't grayscale all of them. That was. We've just added.
We've seen enough of that
Already
today.
dead
I know,
shot.
I'm sorry.
They've seen a lot of gray screens
Oh my
today.
God. It's crazy.
I mean, it's just incredible, right? We talk so much about it, but this kind of track record, this kind of history, I don't think it will ever be matched in this game, no matter how long League is played for. This is such an insane run.
We have a minute for it, and since it was a 3-0, there was an interesting discussion that we were having backstage specifically as, you know, the semifinals record continues. Is that Faker is so important for the sport, right? But also, I think, for the general popularity of the LCK across the world, not just in Korea. Because, Rob, you were taking this loss of TES particularly very, very hard, right? Because you say, I'm always fighting in their corner. And the league is so incredible. I just want more people to talk about it and more people to watch from the Western world. And I get it, but that it's like, if you have a Faker, it's you know, it's how everything develops, right? And we were thinking about an alternate timeline where if LPL had won those first couple of worlds, if Uzi had been that larger-than-life person also for the Western world, if that would have happened, it's an interesting discussion, maybe not here, but...
No, I do agree, but I think it's the fact that it's always been Faker who stood in the way of that, right?
Yeah.
Like, there has been, obviously, multiple attempts where the LPL's come up. Like, you look at 2018, you look at 2019, but it has never really been, or even like EDG as well, but it has never been, oh, we had Uzi step up. It was because, well, Faker stood in the way in 2013. This player consistently popped up to say, no, the LCK is going to be the region with the most titles. My organization is going to be the organization with the most titles. I am going to be the GOAT forever in this sport. And I think that's the incredible thing about a man like Faker.
And people just love greatness. You can see this across any sport, whether it's LeBron, whether it's Wayne Gretzky, whether it's Tom Brady, whether it's Messi. People love watching people dominate a sport, be incredible at a sport, do things that they wish they could do that inspire them. And Faker has that ability to inspire us and has been doing so for over a decade. And I think that is what makes him so truly special, not even just in League of Legends, but across sport as a whole.
And I think it's the ability to beat allegations that Faker does incredibly. Like, when you look at top esports today, right, there's going to be the stories we go back to of, oh, well, Jackie Loves Ezreal never performs, TN cracks on the main stage or a playoff stage. But Faker has these stories thrown at him, and he says, I don't give a crap. I'm going to come back, I'm going to beat them every single time you put an obstacle in front of me. I'm going to come over that, I'm going to come over whatever hurdle it is. I'm going to win championship after championship, and that's what makes him a great player.
Absolutely. I hope the audience will forgive us for just going off script a little bit. I think it was spurred on by, one, the 3-0 and what should have been a close match, and two, the unbelievable crowd reaction you see and the visceral reaction that Faker brings up in all of our fans. So, but now I'll bring us back down to earth because Gen.G or FlyQuest are next.
Important or.
Okay, I don't want to assume it's going to be Gen.G, but I'm going to...
But everyone's going to assume it's going to be Gen.G.
Yes, let's take the theoretical angle, right? Completely theoretical, Azael, that it is Gen.G. Is that the final obstacle that will, after, no matter how excited we are here, is that the end of the road?
I mean, it's definitely not the final obstacle. I think that T1 has the ability to overcome them. Gen.G clearly has the ability to overcome T1. They have many times in the LCK. And BLG, I think, is going to be potentially that final boss. I think they are very heavily favored against Weibo. There's going to be some tough matches for everyone, though, still remaining.
I'm a little nervous about BLG against Weibo, actually, but I'll put that aside. I do want to bring up, presuming this Gen.G, I'm sorry, Azael,
You're from NA too. You work on the LCS.
We've discussed this yesterday, only when they win.
I'm a terrible person. I apologize, FlyQuest. Assuming that it's going to be Gen.G, over the past 2 years, they are 4-11 against Gen.G in series and 17-29 in games. They have not won a series against Gen.G 526 days and counting. So, again, their actual biggest obstacle might not even be the LPL. It might be Gen.G.
The LCK. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment for sure. So that does mean, I was gonna say we get an LPL LCK final for sure, unless FlyQuest.
If we are,
FlyQuest has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever.
The funniest thing. All right, I forgot. I was just yapping, and I forgot we still have our Oppo player of the series. It is Keria. I mean, what a guy.
Yeah, and obviously everyone's gonna look at the Pyke and be like, oh man, you're just giving it to him because of that Pyke game. I don't think he should pick Pyke again, even though he had a pretty good game on
I disagree.
It's plays like these, I think. His Rakan was absolutely incredible. I thought he was great on that. And also, again, I cannot understate, a lot of people were kind of side-eyeing Keria a lot this summer. They're like, has his luck run out? Can he only play these kind of wacky picks, these AD picks? He's shown up here insanely well.
He died once playing engaged games in the whole series.
And that's the thing, for me, this is Keria getting player of the series despite that terrible Pyke angle, but everything else was fantastic. The Bard consistently landing onto multiple people, interrupting the MF. The flash there when he was playing the Rakan to catch Jackie Love, continuously keep up the pressure on an Ezreal that should have been very difficult to lock down. He played immaculately, and then to step up on this Pyke to basically take over the game on a pick that was incredibly hard to operate on. It was just beautiful to watch.
It was. Beautiful last
And if he wins Worlds, he gets a Pyke skin.
It's true. Hey, we
have to get a look skin, right, somewhere in there?
Oh,
Is that it?
I mean, yes, we had a little bit of
there.
time and it was taken away from me, but I just wanted you to have to say one thing about Gen.G FlyQuest.
I mean, it's going to be an incredibly difficult match. I really just hope that FlyQuest come in and can play fearless, right? I was so impressed with their preparation, with how they played against HLE. You're playing against one of the absolute best teams in the world. Yes, you are huge underdogs. You can't look at it like that, like it's a punishment. You have to look at it as an opportunity. Play with confidence, play your game, and show us what you got.
Exactly. Show us what you got. You as well as a home, because your predictions not been good. Today you won, but the last couple of days, it's been janky. Go think about what you've done, okay? Or you're going to bed without dinner, okay? Right. Anyways, good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. It is indeed our very last quarterfinal here in Paris of FlyQuest versus Gen.G. Thank you for spending your day with us once again, and à demain.
Au revoir.
Wow.
Merci beaucoup.
Back to keep Faker standing. Again, that's a flashless Ivern. Oh, he's going to get taken down. A little bit extra healing to the level up, but it's first blood for Faker. hope, a dream, the flash as well. Maybe a bit ambitious. Mako! He doesn't know! He got out! The genius play! A perfect use of 5-4! This is T1 again managed to find a favorable fight, but Baker's not done! Baker! He gets the double! Beautiful equalizer into 3. Now all the TS backline is forced away from the bike. Cream isolated to 1v1, tries to take an equalizer of his own, but it does not matter because Jackie is in trouble. Jackie trying to make the difference with the orb, but Deception takes him down. He has flash. Zay should be in trouble, but he makes the move first. He looks him dead in the eye and says, I dare you. Pike going in, Phantom Undertow is clean, 369 running. Oh, come on! Hold on to the blast with Arizona! The blast, the knockback into the wall, the knock-up as well. Right on top of Mako. Cream doesn't really have a recourse here. Owner looking for the knockback, but Cream, the ultimate just in time. Knocking it 2. Easy kill pick up TS. Kidnapping. T1 obliterate them in the blink of an eye. T1 refused to lose a best of 5 to the LPL. They add TES to the long list of teams that they have taken.
I've been living behind all the scenes, 'cause it's easier when they don't believe. Keep it quiet, keep it hush, keep denying, but the fire that's inside is igniting. Keep control, I'm like a bomb that's ticking. Hit, explode, I won't be so forgiving. Cross me twice, no, I won't let it go. Hit you from your blind spot, hit you where it's gonna hurt most. Words unspoken, I'm not afraid to say it now. Set in motion what I've kept underground. Don't crack under pressure, I'm built like a rough machine. And if you don't know what I mean, I can strike like a viper. Feel it coming, always up to something. Give me that power. Watch it get louder. Feel it rubbing better. Start it running. Go by it like a spider. And I strike like a viper, like a viper. Rosy cheeks on a pretty face. Promise I'm nice, but that goes 2 ways. I can scream, I can howl, it's performing. Don't wanna let it out, just take this as you're ruining me and my sharp tooth digging in, honey. I'm all self-made, not just lucky. Cool girl with a temper. Hit you from your blind spot, hit you where it's gonna hurt most. This has been a long time coming, building up my courage slowly.
It's time for you to level up. Listen, level up.